لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام الأتمان الأكملان على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن استنى بسنته واهتدى بهديه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فكنا قد بلغنا إلى قول المصنف رحمه الله في كتاب العمدة: وإن طبخ في الماء ما ليس بطهور وكذلك ما خلطه فغلب على اسمه أو استعمل في رفع حدث سلب طهوريته. It is translated, and if something that is pure but not purifying was cooked within the water, or it was mixed with the water and it prevailed upon its name, quote-unquote characteristics, or if it was used in removing a ritual impurity, then it will be stripped of its attribute of being a purifier. طيب. So we have several masail here. Are you with us, يا إخوة? Are you with us? طيب. It says, if something is pure but not purifying, was cooked within the water. Now, when we're talking about something that is not pure, that is pure but it's not purifying, then you're talking about a particular type of liquid that is not water, cooked or used within water. Because we just established, now we're talking about the technicalities. Because technically speaking, we divide water into three types. Albeit, we opine that the preponderant opinion is that we have only two types of water. But for the technicality of the majority, actually, not only in madhab, they say that we have three types of water: pure and purifying, pure but not purifying, and impure. Now, we established the meaning of the pure and purifying. Now he is talking about the second type, technically speaking. The second type of water, that is the pure but it's not purifying. When we're talking about pure but it's not purifying, it means that if it is pure, you can use it for whatever reason you want, except that it won't be used for your ritual impurity or ritual impurity. That's the meaning when they are saying that it's a purifying or a purifier. So then again, if someone asks you, what does it mean to have a water that is pure and purifying? What does that mean?
Removes the ritual impurity.
That is pure by itself, and it's used for the removal of ritual impurity and for also ritual purity. Both. It removes the hadath and it also removes the khabath. This is what we call a water that is tahur. We call it tahur. The second time, this is the one that is taken about. What is it? It's a pure but it's not a purifying. Meaning that it is pure to utilize it for all purposes, except removal of the ritual impurity or the purity. And again and over again. This is I wanted to stick to the technicality. The third type, which is the impure, the impure water. The impure water is that water which is not utilized. It's not pure by itself, let alone to be purified. Okay? Now, he's talking about the second type. He's saying that if something that is pure, meaning that he's talking about a particular type of liquid. This is the first thing that comes to mind when commenting on him saying that we have a pure. Meaning that you have a pure liquid mixed with tahur, a pure and purifying. He said if something that is pure but not purifying was cooked within the water, or it was mixed with the water and prevailed upon its name, eventually it will remove it from the status of being a pure and purifying to the status of being a pure but not purifying. I will give you an example in order to move from the realm of theory to the implementations. Suppose that you have a you know you have a pot. Within this pot you have water. Just you open the the sambur. What is a sambur? Faucet. Okay, you just open it up and you have that water. Now, suppose that you go to the kitchen and you mix with it another type of liquid, sauce, for example. Now, what he says that if something that is pure but not purifying was cooked, now the sauce is pure but it's not purifying, and it's cooked within the water, eventually it will make it pure but it's not purifying. So it will remove it from the type of water that is pure and purifying to a type of liquid, they will call it water, that is pure but it's not purifying. That's what the author rahimahullah is saying, because he's talking about the types of waters that we call them pure but it's not purifying. This is the meaning of tahir, al-ma' al-tahir. And also he said that if it was mixed with the water and prevailed and it prevailed upon its name, meaning characteristics, meaning the properties of the water, whereby it's no longer called water, then it will be again pure but it's not purifying. It will be tahir. Also he said, or if it was used in removing a ritual impurity. The ritual impurity is al-hadath. Yeah, for example, there is water that you utilized to remove al-hadath. Okay? To remove al-hadath, to remove ritual impurity. And look, we're talking about a type of water, not the left water, not the remaining water. We're talking about that which drops from you. Okay? ما يتساقط. This is the water that we're talking about, not the remaining water. Are you with us, inshallah? Let's suppose that we have a pool, and you make wudu from the pool. Now, we're not talking about the water that in the pool. We're talking about the water that drops from you while you're making wudu. This is the type of wudu that we're talking, the type of water that we're talking about. So he's saying that if it was used in removing a ritual impurity, that which drops from you, he said that then it will be stripped of its attribute of being purifier for both that which has been cooked with water, or that it was mixed of it until its properties are removed. In both cases, or the third scenario, where it is used in removing your ritual impurity. In all of these scenarios, now the water will be removed from the type which we call tahur to be called tahir. Okay? Now, what is the preponderant opinion? We say that the preponderant opinion is the Hanafi opinion here. That is, that for the first scenario and the second scenario, whereby that water is cooked with another type of liquid, or that type of water is mixed with another type of water until its properties are changed, in both cases that water is no longer called water. It's something else. It's not a water. So thus we don't even include it in the types that we call the types of water, because it is not water anymore. Are you with us, ikhwa? So therefore, it's not even discussed whether there is water that is pure or impure, because it's not even under the category of being water. It's not the H2O pure. It's something different. Yeah, and you call it a sauce, you call it any type of liquid. It won't be water anymore. Now, for the third type, or for the third example that he gave, which is that if it is used to remove ritual impurity, they say that it will be tahir, but it's not tahur. The reason that they argue this way is to say that it is because there is a difference of opinion with regard to its purity, meaning that if it is pure and purifying. So hence they say that in order to get yourself from the lack of the dispute, you go to the safe zone, and then you say that it's pure but it's not purifying. But this is a weak opinion. The preponderant opinion is that that water that rubs from you when you make tahara, it will be what? Pure and purifying. It is tahur. Why? Because of the generality of Allah Azza wa Jal saying, وَيُنَزِّلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً طَهُورًا. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, إِذَا كَانَ الْمَاءُ قُلَّتَيْن لَمْ يَحْمِلِ الْخَبَثِ. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, إِنَّ الْمَاءَ طَهُورٌ لَا يُنَجِّسُهُ شَيْءٍ. So because of these evidences, because of these general statements, then the water is what? Pure. Secondly, we have agreed that we will call the water not purifying, even if we agree that it's pure, if it is changed by a najasa. In what way? In the three characteristics: its smell, its taste, its color. Now, is the smell changed by najasa? No. Is the color changed by najasa? No. Is the taste changed by najasa? No. So under what justification we will make it impure, but it's not purified. So therefore we conclude we say that we have only two types of water: طاهر في نفسه مطهر لغيره, and we have a type of water that is called najis. We have only two types of water. Do we have a type of water that is pure but it's not purifying, according to the preponderant opinion that we just presented? No. هل هذا واضح إن شاء الله? Now, what would ensue as a consequence? Is there an implementation for what we're saying? Yes. Suppose, for example, that we have when people make wudu, okay? People, we call it al-mida, when they make wudu. Sometimes that there is a small pool, they make wudu from it, right? It drops from them the water that they call طاهر, but it's not طاهر في نفسه لكنه ليس مطهرا لغيره. According to them, it will affect the water. According to them, it will affect the water if it is less than 2 qullas, which is less than 270 liters. You see the difference? So it will affect the water. So thereby, you can't use that water, according to them. According to them, you can't use that water. But according to the preponderant opinion, you can use it. According to the more authentic opinion, you can use it. And this is definitely the case. Is that clear, inshallah? Clear? Then the author, rahimahullah, said, and inshallah, the more that you go up the letters, you will have more discussions. Like now we give you just the gist of it. Okay, inshallah, just in order to know, so that you will act upon. He said, وَإِذَا شَكَّ في طهارة الماء أو غيره ونجاسته بنى على اليقين. He said, and if he, and also she, has doubts regarding the purity of the water or something else, or its impurity, he should base his actions on certainty. Look here, there is a great qa'idah in Islam, one of the, we call them the grand qawa'id. Because you remember we talked about this, that we have qawa'id that are called qawa'id kubra, and then we have qawa'id sughra. You should be ready, familiar with this. Actually, you should be rooted now with this. Okay? Because you took it, it was explained to you, and you were tested. One of the grand قواعد rules is that al-yaqeen la yazulu bil-shak. Certainty is not removed by doubt. Okay? What is the evidence for this qaida? Who can give us the evidence for this qaida? Bismillah. Would you give it a shot? Give it a shot. Now, do you believe that there is a grand qa'idah in Islam that is legislated and unanimously agreed upon, that it says that certainty is not removed by doubt? Great. Can you give an evidence for this? If someone asks you, do you study at college? Good. What's your major? Biology. And even in biology, this is a rule. This is a rule actually that is used for life. That's why it's a grand rule in Sharia. It's not assumption. It's not an assumption. It's established rule. It's a rule, not assumption in order to maintain an already ruling. So then again, certainty, simple, but it has a huge effect on your life. Certainty is not removed by doubt. I will give you an example, social example. For example, let's suppose that a person knows that his wife is sincere adherence to the principles of the house, the principles of the family. Then a person came to him and he whispered to him and he put some doubts about her. What is the rule? Certainty is not removed by shak. No, you don't accept that. So then certainty this qaida is a very important qaida. It's crucial, it's vital for life to move forward. Okay? If doubt is given a priority over certainty, then we will live like in the wilderness. It's bad. When you speak to me, I take what you say as authentic, because I'm certain this is how we should interact. I don't give doubts over certainty. هذا مهم يا إخوة. So then, what's the evidence for this? We have an evidence. Actually, we have evidences. One of them, just to maintain the time, to capitalize on the time, the Prophet ﷺ said, the Prophet ﷺ was asked that if a person is in doubt while he is praying, is his tahara nullified or not? What did he say? لا ينصرف حتى يسمع صوتا أو يجد ريح. He said that let him not go finish his prayer, cut it, until he hears a sound or smells a smell or the odor. Why is that? In order to maintain certainty. And look, he related to something certain, something that is sensible. You hear, you smell, in order to remove any doubt. So then, once we know that this is the qaida, now we understand what the author rahimahullah is saying, and it is unanimously agreed upon. if a person has doubts regarding the purity of the water or something else, meaning the purity of any other object, then what he is going to do? He will maintain the certainty. Now, what is the certainty in this scenario? That it is tahir. Because we established that the beginning of this book, that al-ma'u tahurun, all of water is pure. Whatever water that you encounter, the ruling is what? Pure. So that's the certainty.
Not going for the salah also. If I'm in doubt, I missed one rak'ah.
Mm.
So يبني على اليقين.
أي نعم. ما هو الذي تبني على اليقين? That you didn't act upon. Yeah, because it does. You are certain it didn't exist. Then you have a doubt whether or not that it existed. So therefore you maintain certainty. So therefore you bring one more rak'ah. One rak'ah. So then if you have a doubt about the purity of water, then what do? You go with the certainty. What's the certainty? The water is pure. Now you have a doubt about an object. For example, you enter a hotel room. Then you want to pray on the rug or on the carpet. Do you say that, well, I don't know? Then you go to investigate? Or what do you say? Al-asl what? Al-Tahara. Certainty until it is removed by certainty. One of the qawa'id that the ulama rahimahullah is saying is that certainty is not removed is only removed by certainty. You can't remove certainty by doubts. Even if you have 99.9% doubt, but it's still not 100%, then the 100% will prevail. Certainty always prevails. Always prevails. Always prevails. Okay? This is, you can use it in many occasions. For example, now we have established a ruling that is certain that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum are trustworthy. We have frequent evidences telling us that the Sahaba are what? Trustworthy. If you hear doubts about a particular Sahabi, then what do? You continue with certainty. And then you need to understand these doubts. You can't go to the doubts while not maintaining the certainty. This is the way of those people who are going astray. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, هو الذي أنزل عليك الكتاب منه آيات محكمات هن أم الكتاب وأخر متشابهات فأما الذين في قلوبهم زيغ فيتبعون ما تشابه منه. They don't go to the certain, they go to the doubtful. This is their way. ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء تأويله. But the proper way of approaching life generally, and the Sharia specifically, which is the one that is governing life, is to go with certainty until certainty is removed by certainty. You don't go with doubts. And when we're talking about doubts, we're not only talking about 50-50. We're talking even about the most likely. Until it is not proven to be certain, it is still to be called doubt. So he said, or something else, like a carpet, or your for example, you're certain that your thawb has what? Tahara. Then you doubt whether or not that there is a najasa. There is a difference between you are certain that it has najasa, but you don't know where it is, and you are certain that it's tahir, then you are in doubt about whether or not that it has najasa afterwards. يعني هل طرأت النجاسة على محل الطاهر أو لا? That's how we usually say it بعبارة الفقهاء in the juristic statements or in the juristic expressions. So then he said, if he has doubts regarding the purity of the water or something else, or its impurity, about its najasa, now it's the vice versa. So then he is in doubt of what? He is in doubt of the tahara, while he was certain that it was impure, najis. So he is certain that this carpet is what? Najisa. Now he is in doubt whether or not that it has been purified. Or he is in doubt that water, he was certain that it was najis. He smelled it. But he came back and he is in doubt whether that it has been purified or not. So then he will stick to what? Certainty in both cases. That's why he said, or its impurity. He should base his actions on certainty in both cases. So then, what's the general rule here? Is that if you are certain that it is pure, then you are in doubt that najasa happened, impurity happened, then it is pure. Vice versa. If, to the contrary, if you are certain that it's impure, then you are in doubt about its purity, then it is impure. So simple, bihamdillah. So simple. But you need to act upon it. It will make your life so easy. You find now people, for example, if they go, مثلا, you are walking in the street. It's time for salah. You don't have time to go to Islamic center, or the Islamic center is away. So then what do? You need to pray. Let's say that you're gonna just stop by and you will pray. Do you need to say, well, I don't know, and you go to investigate and do a survey?
No.
لا. What do? جعلت لي الأرض مسجدا وطهورا. What do? You just face the Qibla, say Allahu Akbar, pray. Okay? Unless you are certain that there is something, that there is najasa, that there is impurity. Otherwise, if you are in doubt 99.9%, you don't even care. If a person acts upon this qa'idah, ikhwah, a lot of these doubts and skepticisms that happen not only in his ritual actions, but also in his life, because he is putting himself on the standard of certainty. Do you know that one of the reasons for a person to have severe depression, اكتئاب حاد, is what? الشك. One of the reasons, actually one of the common reasons of a person has something called الوسواس القهري. What is الوسواس القهري باللغة الإنجليزية؟ من يعرف الوسواس؟ أنت تعرف العربية؟ أي فما هو الوسواس القهري بالإنجليزية؟ لا, it has a terminological name. There is a particular types of waswas. Waswas means there is a particular type of waswas, doubt, that will make a person feels he's forced to do what he's doing.
Obsessive compulsive disorder.
أي نعم. What is it?
OCD.
It's OCD, exactly. Obsessive compulsive disorder. One of its main reasons is that a person is not basing his life on this qa'idah. If you base your life on this qa'idah, you will feel way better. You will feel it. You will notice a month, 2 months, you will feel that your life is going easier. You will find that your psychological status will be eased. Your way of thinking will be positive. It's only because of this qa'idah. This qa'idah is very, it's really vital for healthy life, let alone for the implementation of a sharia. That's why a sharia commands it. Then the author rahimahullah says, وإن خفي موضع النجاسة من الثوب أو غيره غسل ما يتيقن به غسلها. He's saying, if the filthy spot on his garment or otherwise was obscured, he should wash off his garment or whatever else. What would be sufficient to make him certain he washed off the impurity? Now, what is this scenario that he's talking about? He's talking about a scenario whereby you are certain that there is najasa, but it is in his translation obscured. It's not known to be where. Okay? Now, what he's saying, if the filthy spot, yani the impure spot on his garment, or otherwise, whatever, not necessarily garment, مثلا jeans, robe, غترة, hat, whatever. He said he should wash off his garment, meaning all of that which would be sufficient to make him certain he washed off the impurity. Meaning that he will wash off the spot or where he thinks the spot until he is certain that he has washed it off. That's what he's saying. Why? Because certainty is only removed by certainty. Because now he is certain that there is najasa, and it's not allowed to pray with a garment that has najasa. So how to achieve certainty? By washing off to the extent that you are certain that you have removed it. واضح inshallah? Now, what is the evidence for this? We have a specific evidence for this. Now, al-madhi, you know al-madhi, right? Is unanimously agreed upon to be, well, actually, it is amongst the four that it is najis, it is impure. But its najasa is called light impurity. لا هو يسبب الحدث, لكن the madhi itself, is it impure or impure? It is impure, but it's light. We have a hadith, a specific hadith talking about that there is a person by the name of Sahel ibn Hanif radiyallahu anhu. He came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is reported in Abi Dawood and others. It is reported through the chain of Muhammad ibn Ishaq, taken from Muhammad ibn Ubayd ibn Sabbaq, taken from his father. His father was taken from Sahel ibn Hanif. So Sahel himself reports this, which happened to him. He said, radiyallahu anhu, that I approached the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that I was finding difficulty with madhi, to the extent that I used to make ghusl every time I had madhi. So the Prophet ﷺ said that, make it easy. You just make wudu. Then he said, O Rasulullah, what should I do with my garments? Meaning that I have madhi. He ﷺ said that it is sufficient for you, it is enough for you to take kaf mimma. What is kaf mimma? Translated, handful of water. You take handful of water, then you tash it on that place until you think. That's what he said. Until you think you covered it up. He said until you think. حتى ترى أنك قد أزلت. حتى ترى يعني حتى تظن. So then what he's saying is that وإن خفي موضع النجاسة من الثوب. This is what he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam suggested. Okay? Until you think that this is what you have done. طيب. He said غسل ما يتيقن به غسلها. Clear inshallah? So then you need to differentiate between the first scenario and or between the first mas'ala and the second mas'ala. The first mas'ala is that you are certain of one thing and you are in doubt of the opposite. The second mas'ala is that you are certain about one thing but you are not in doubt of the opposite, but you don't know where the impurity is. That's the difference. So there is no opposite. واضح? And in both cases you act upon certainty. In the first mas'ala, what qaida did you use? What qaida did we use? اليقين لا يزول بالشك. For the second qaida, for the second mas'ala, what did we use as qaida? Certainty is removed by certainty. Clear? So you have qaida and you have evidence, both. He said وإن اشتبه ماء طاهر بنجس ولم يجد غيرهما تيمم وتركهما. He said if pure water was confused with impure water. Again, they have, based on the technicality that the madhab used, actually the majority used. He said if pure water was confused with impure water and he didn't find any other water, he should make tayammum and leave both, i.e. the pure and impure water. Now, what is this mas'ala? This mas'ala is that he is certain that one water is pure, and he's certain another water is impure, but he cannot differentiate. He cannot decide whether this water is pure or this water is impure. He cannot. Now, before we comment on this, there are some scholars, they say that it is now this mas'ala particularly is impossible to happen or impossible to imagine. Why? Because they say, because the color, he will realize, because an-najasa is connected to something tangible, sensible, color, taste, and smell. If this is the case, then how it could be that he cannot differentiate? This goes against the very definition that we call najasa is known by smell or taste or color. واضح? So we have the likes of التميمي مثلا amongst عندنا في المذهب, or the likes of صاحب الشرح, we call it. Who is صاحب الشرح عندنا في المذهب؟ ها؟ لا, عبد الرحمن. إذا قلنا صاحب الشرح الكبير, عبد الرحمن, the one who explained مختصر الخرقي as in a short way, shorter than موفق الدين. على كل حال. So you have the likes of those people who are of the opinion that this mas'ala is not even imaginable. The likes of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. He said this mas'ala is just, it does not happen. But if you think about it, it is possible to happen, right? Let's suppose that we have a person who does not see, who cannot sense, and he does not smell. It's possible to happen. It's not common, it's rare, but it happens, right? So it is possible to happen. And if it's not even possible to happen, or it's rare to happen, still needs to be discussed in case that it happens. Okay? So then, whether that you believe that it's going to happen, or it's happening, or it happened, or it's not, it is not imaginable to happen, in both cases we still discuss it. Now, what does this mas'ala? So then you have tahur, you have water that is tahur and impure. Pure, purify, pure, and the opposite is impure. What did he say? He said that you leave them both and you make tayammum. Why is that? Because you cannot remove the certainty of a najasa by certainty. So since this is not achievable, in order to make your action attainable, what do? You just leave them, and then you make tayammum, and therefore you are in the same status of a person who does not have water. That's why the ulama rahimahullah differed amongst the madhab and also amongst the Hanafiyyah, and also amongst many of the Malikiyyah. Should he pour it out before? Does he need to either mix them or pour them out in order to make sure that he does not have water? Because we want to remove him from the status where he has water. Because look, jurists are so meticulous. They will think about everything, from the state, how to govern it, to economics, marriage, and these things. Because they think, every possible aspects of your life, it has a ruling, and then they try to derive it. Okay, so then some said that he needs to أن يعدم الماء. يقول أن يعدم, to, how to say this, يعني يعدم الماء, to obliterate the water. How does he do that? By either pouring it out or mixing them. In that case, he will be in a state where as if he didn't have water. واضح? Some say, well, there is no need of that, because there is a qaida that says the avoidability is only achievable by avoidability. هذه القاعدة تقول أن ما لا يزال إلا بالإزالة فهو مزال. يقول الزائل زائل. هذه القاعدة يستعملها كثيرا الشافعي. الزائل زائل. What do we mean by الزائل زائل? A thing is only removable by its nature, meaning that there is no usage of it. It's as if it's gone. الزائل زائل. Avoidability or removability of a thing is only attainable by removability. الزائل زائل بالقواعد. ذكر السيوطي هذه، ذكر السيوطي وغيره. طيب. And the preponderant opinion is that we say that yes, he will go to tayammum, which is the opinion of many of his salaf actually. We have the opinion of Ata, the opinion of الزهري, Muhammad Muslim. Al-Bukhari رحمه الله reported this. هذا في البخاري. And it's يعني connected موصول عند ابن أبي شيبة. That you leave them both and you go to tayammum. Because you are in the same status of a person who does not have water. You are the same. In what sense? In what sense? In what sense you are the same? You can't be certain to use. Now, if a person does not have water, it means that he is not certain to use water. In the juristic terms. Okay? Have you, يا إخوة, anybody amongst you study law? Here, law. Because يا إخوة, in the legalistic terms, يعني you need to get used to the terms. Okay? يعني now, in order to maintain the status of that person to be a person who does not have water, then we say if a person does not have water, then he is not certain that he will use water in the juristic terminology, right? In the legalistic terms. Now, if a person does have water, but he is not certain to use one of them, because one of them is certain, he is certain that it's pure and one is pure, but they are not discernible for him, then what can he do? He is in the same status. بعبارة الفقهاء ننزله منزلة عادم الماء. He's the same as a person who does not have water. They are the same. In what sense? What is the common denominator? The lack of certainty. Okay? طيب, there is an opinion for a Shafi'i, rahimahullah. What did he say? He say, well, because this is his qaida. If he is certain one thing is there, and another thing is there, that is the opposite of it, and he is requested or required to use one of them, he said يتوخى, tries his best. You go to try your best. So then you try to يعني do your survey until you are certain that what? Until you say that is more that this water is more likely to be the pure one. What is his evidence? He said that it's as if you don't know where the Qibla is. You are not given the choice to pray wherever, right? You will try your best, right? So hence, he said that any time that you are in a situation, you are requested to act. Look, there is a difference between requesting you to act, ما يسمى إذا كان أمريا لا يكون نهيا. When it's about that we ask you to act, يعني we ask you to make a thing exist, not to avoid. Now we need from you to act. He said, the qaida of Shafi'i rahimahullah, he says that any time a Sharia requested a person to act and he is in doubt of the implementability of his action, then I will go with him, trying his best. What is your evidence? He said that because Allah says, فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. He didn't say, فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ إِلَى الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ شَطْرَ. Try your best. Which makes sense?
Yes.
طيب. Those who would go with the majority, raise your hand. Just I'd like you to to participate. I know it's not a big deal issue of a matter, لكن I want you to to be trained. Now, those who say I will go with the opinion of the majority, that he will avoid both الزائل زائل and he will make tayammum, because Allah says فإن لم تجدوا ماء, what's your solution? فتيمم. Shafi'i says, Allah says فإن لم تجدوا ماء, does he have water? Yes, he will try his best. I won't go to تيمم, لأن التيمم هو بدل ولا يقوم البدل عوضا عن المبدل منه وقت حضور البدل وقت حضور المبدل منه. بطل التيمم. هم يقولون نحن ننزله منزلة العادل. يلا, those who go with the majority. I mean, put yourself in this scenario. Let's suppose that you have a picnic in the middle of Utah. Okay, you don't have water. You have a camping. You were camping. I'm trying to make it real, because some of you they said, well, it didn't happen, and like some people. I'm trying to make it real. Suppose that a person now called you. He said that I am in Utah or in Nebraska, some places that even that there are no cars will go. You need to hike, right? And they say that, well, our neighbor, that we have waters, that they were with us, and a person was neighbor next to us. His dog came, and we heard him making wudu, but we are not sure which one. Is it real now? It's real. Yalla. What you're gonna answer him by the phone? Are you saying that Allah Ghafur Rahim? Like some people? Huh?
Follow your instinct.
Yeah. Follow your instinct, meaning which one is, or you make fatwa for yourself? لا. I don't make fatwa for you, because that's why the fuqaha discussed this issue, so that you won't make your judgments, complete judgments, that you will be enlightened, given some guidance. Those, raise your hand if you go with the majority. Meaning that he will make tayammum. That's the opinion of the majority. So then you are against the majority. You're going with the Shafi'i. Yalla. I want you to convince him by that the opinion of the majority is the right one. And I want you to convince him that the opinion of Shafi'i rahimahullah is the closest one. Tfaddal. Don't look at him, at me. Look at him. Scare him. You can have help.
So the majority opinion is that you have to make family, right?
هنا, you leave them both. Regardless whether that you mix them or you pour them out, this is a different issue. But in all cases, based upon this opinion, you will go to them.
So you know that the books are certain that one of them is pure and one is impure, right? But you're also certain that you don't know which one is which. So because of that, I think it would be better if you just make time.
But this is what you think. You're not convincing him. This is what you think. We could care less. Give us reasons. When you say that I think, this is what you think, we could care less. I can say to you, well, I think. This is not about, well, this is America and you're free to, and you're entitled to your opinion. Nobody says this in science, okay? You can't say, well, because we have a legal deliberation. Well, you are entitled to your opinion. You need to justify. You need to give reasons why you're choosing that, right? You can't just, well, we can't just in physics, مثلا, or in social studies. Well, this is my opinion. This is what I think. You need to justify it. You need to give reasons, evidence. You need to argue it. Do you need some help? اي نعم اي نعم.
ولم يدغلهما التيمم والتركهما.
اي. Are we going to go with this opinion before I give you the preponderant opinion? Now, who would argue, Abdullah, saying that you will go with the majority? This is the justifiable opinion, and don't forget, the moment that you present your evidence, you go to encounter what he is going to present. Try. تفضل.
Well, I take the opinion that
of الشافعي.
Shafi-
Okay,
Shafi-
طيب.
Also, I want to have a question.
Huh.
I heard one time that some scholars, correct me if I'm wrong, that some scholars did qiyas on a salah in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he in the Masaha, and he said, I'm just a human like you, and I forget if I make a mistake, remind me, and I will.
هذا كذلك ما استعمله الشافعي. لكن we are not here يا إخوة to make a lot of evidences. We just give you the gist of what we're talking about. This is the intention of this book. واضح؟ الشافعي رحمه الله عنده أكثر من 7 أدلة. He has more 7 evidences. The majority also that they have their own evidence. But we just give it to you because he just presented it in the simplest, in the most simple way, in the simplest way. That's what he's doing. So we don't go to elaborate. صح؟ نعم. So argue him. تفضل.
We know for sure that wudu with water that is najis is not acceptable. And we're in a situation where we're unsure which is which. And Allah Azza wa Jalla granted us a substitute for water,
طيب.
which is tayammum. Whereas in the example of Qibla, for example, which is one of the evidences Imam Shafi'i uses, in that situation there is no such thing as a
Substitute.
So that is why in that situation one tries his best to find in which direction to pray, and he prays. Whereas in the situation of the water, Allah Azza wa Jalla granted us a substitute. And if we were to make wudu with one of the waters, even if one were to go with ghalabatul one, what is
possible that it
more
likely, huh?
Most likely, it could fall into performing wudu with water that's najis.
Okay. طيب. Good argument. So first of all, present your argument, then counter his argument.
Well, my position is that it's the better opinion to make wudu with the water that, based on your investigation, in all likelihood, is deep pure. And I'll bring
Why is that?
Two reasons. It is the habit of the Sharia that when you're faced with an option, or when you're faced with something that is mandatory, you try your best.
Great.
So that's one evidence, and it's the habit. It's the habit of many other rulers.
Great. The second reason, because you said that you have 2 reasons.
Making tayammum is not encouraged. It's not something that is. So the second reason is making tayammum is not encouraged, whereas making wudu with water is highly encouraged. Purifying yourself with water is highly encouraged.
Okay.
And tayammum is only out of necessity when you have no other choice.
Okay. So now you go to counter his argument, and we will be back to you to counter what he's presented. Okay, yeah, Abdullah, counter his argument, the substitute one. Give it to him. Counter his argument. Now you presented your case. Now you need to respond to what he's presented. He said that if you say that we face al-Qibla because there is no alternative, as opposed to water there is an alternative. So therefore, making analogy to facing Al-Kaaba does not stand. So you say,
That I would say that
do you need help?
the Prophet ﷺ,
Sallallahu.
when he was faced with two choices, he would choose the easy of them as long as one of them wasn't haram.
Okay. طيب.
I would say that
Since there is water, going to the substitute is haram. So then it does not stand as substitute. Okay, good attempt. Hassan. Counter his two reasons. Just to move on.
Like, if I recall, one of the reasons is فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ.
نعم. He's saying that so that فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ, you try your best. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ.
I would say that doesn't necessarily apply in this case, because that doesn't mean that you just perform an action based on doubt. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ, يعني you are basically in the situation fearing Allah as much as you could, because you can't differentiate, so you just go with what Allah.
But you cannot go to the best of your ability. Because he
you
said
go-
that this is the habit of a Sharia.
No.
That when we command, when it's about a command, you try your best.
Yes, but if you try your best, you could fall into a mahbur.
This is the best of my ability.
No.
So then you're saying that فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ, as long as you're not sure or you're not certain that there's a possibility of doing haram, right? يعني فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ, in doing the command where there is no possibility of committing haram.
No.
But you won't perfect the halal or the command, right?
Basically.
Good. This is our answer, because your argument is what Shafi rahimahullah actually mentioned in his book Al-Umm. Ahsan, great, mashallah, great way of thinking. Great. The preponderant opinion is that we have athar, ya ikhwa. The only thing that we don't go with a Shafi'i is that we don't have athar for what he's saying. This is his opinion, as opposed to the opinion that we go to what? To tayammum. Because if we go to tayammum, it's not only about our reason, but it's also supported by athar. We have athar from Ata, we have athar from Az-Zuhri, and these are reported by, we have athar from Sufyan ibn Uyayna. Actually, we have an opinion of Al-Thawri rahimahullah. He said that he makes wudu and he makes tayammum. Al-Thawri rahimahullah said that he makes to you wudu from both, and then he will make tayammum. This is the opinion of Al-Thawri. But we don't have an opinion that you try your best, but by Shafi'i rahimahullah. I don't know of any athar. That's the reason we say that he will go to tayammum. It is better than, it is the preponderant opinion. It's the more authentic one. Clear, inshallah? So then, when you have two waters, you are certain one of them is pure and the other one is impure, then what do? You go to tayammum. طيب. أحسنتم. He said, وإن اشتبه طهور بطاهر توضأ من كل واحد منهما. And if purifying water was confused with pure water that is not purifying, e.g., for example, water previously used to remove impurity, then he should make wudu out of each one of them. Based on what? Now this mas'ala is only applicable when you say that we have 3 types of water. But if you say that we have only 2 types of water, now this mas'ala is cancelled from discussion. واضح? So, but based on the madhab, they say that if you have tahur and tahir, not tahur and impure, tahir meaning that it's pure but it's not purified. If you are in a scenario where you have tahur, pure and purifying, and pure but it's not purifying, he's saying that you're gonna make wudu from one of each. واضح? Why is that? He said that because if you make one of each, now you are certain, as opposed that if you are in the first scenario, then you're gonna be directly touching a najasa. Now you are certain that you are making wudu without directly touching a najasa. Therefore, you go and you make wudu. As opposed to a thawri. A thawri, in that scenario, they said that you make wudu from this and this. And then you make tayammum, you combine between them. But is this a good opinion, by the way? Is this a good opinion of a thawri? Why? Because Allah says, فَإِن لَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً فَتَيَمَّمُوا. So then, it's only possible to go to tayammum if you don't have water, or if you don't use water. لأنه لا يجمع بين البدل والمبدل منه. You cannot combine between the substitute and that which is substituted from. You can't combine. This is contradiction. واضح هذا؟ لكن this is only possible if you have 3 types of water. If you don't have 3 types of water, then this masala is not even mentioned. He said, وإن اشتبهت الثياب الطاهرة بالنجسة صلى في كل ثوب صلاة بعدد النجس وزاد صلاة. هذا مذهب الشافعي. هذا مذهب الجمهور. It means we will read the translation, because he has actually good translation. Says, if there are both clean and unclean garments, then يعني, if you are in the scenario, if you are in the case, if you are in the set, the situation, you should pray a certain number of times equal to the number of unclean garments, plus 1. You should make each prayer in a different garment. Why they are doing like this? In order to, because certainty is only removed by certainty. That's the whole point. Now you have, look here, there are two mas'alas that a lot of students don't master. There is a difference between tayaqqun al-najasa, but you don't know where it is, and then you are certain of the purity, however you are uncertain about the impurity. يعني the impurity that happened to the purity. So then you need to distinguish between these 2 masalas. The first masala is what? You are certain, but you cannot distinguish. The second one is what? You are certain about one situation, but you are in doubt the other happened. واضح؟ المسألة الأولى تسمى عند العلماء مسألة اشتباه الحلال بالحرام. المسألة الثانية تسمى مسألة اليقين المعارض بالشك. I will give you an example. If you are certain, and this is directly, this question is directly towards you. If you are certain that you have lahm that is halal, dhabiha, and you have lahm that is unhalal, but you cannot discern, what you're gonna do? Why you don't try your best? You are certain that you have lahm halal, dhabiha, and you have lahm that is unhalal, but you cannot discern. ما تدري. Do you try your best?
You don't have to eat it.
Huh?
So you don't have to eat it, so you just avoid it.
Why? I want to eat it. الله عز وجل حله لي. كيف هذا؟ الله حله لي.
Potentially,
إيه هو هذا. إيه وعليه.
you avoid it.
أي نعم. إذا اشتبه الحلال بالحرام فما لا يتم ترك المحرم إلا به فتركه واجب. This is the مسألة that we call إذا اشتبه الحرام. Another example يقول العلماء إذا اشتبهت أخته بأجنبية. If he has a sister and he has another and there is another woman, but for a reason or another he cannot distinguish his sister from the other woman, and he wants to marry. Which one to marry? Neither. لأنه إذا اشتبه الحلال بالحرام فإنه يترك. ما لا يتم because there is يعني هذه قاعدة أصولية ليست قاعدة فقهية. هذه ما لا يتم ترك المحرم إلا به فتركه واجب. That which the haram is only avoiding by is that its avoidability it becomes obligatory. Again, that which is هذه قاعدة يا إخوة احرصوا على القواعد هذه القواعد هي التي بها نجاتك في العلم. أما تجي تقول أنا سأذهب إلى الكتاب والسنة وأنا أتفقه then you will give us يعني chaotic understanding. Like what you said, I would think. We will end up, you think, and that person is thinking. لا يا إخوة, we want you to think, but you think systematically. Definitely we want you to think. Like you think systematically, methodologically, based upon rules. You can't come, you present your research, for example, and you say, well, I will do it the way that it befits me. You won't even be accepted in a high school. You need to do it systematically, right? Great. So then, again, what is the qaida? That which is avoided, that which is لا ما لا يتم ترك المحرم إلا به فترك واجب. That which haram is only avoided by leaving, its avoidability becomes obligatory. هذه مسألة اشتباه الحلال بالحرام. أي نعم. There is another مسألة. Now, are you settled with this قاعدة? Do you feel comfortable? Who can give us? نعم تفضل.
قاعدة ما لا يتم ترك الحرام إلا به أو إلا بتركه.
إلا به أو إلا بتركه كل واحد.
إلا بتركه فتركه واجب.
نعم فتركه واجب.
وقلنا إلا به.
نفس إلا بتركه فتركه واجب. جميعا. لا بد من الترك. It all comes to not acting, avoiding. واضح? So now you are settled with this issue. Abdullah, mashallah, you just said the habit of a sharia. If you say the habit of a sharia, it means that you memorize at least 10,000 texts in order to know the habit of sharia. It's a big statement, the habit of a sharia. Okay, like if you say that the habit of the American jurisprudence. Okay, what does that mean? You at least looked at hundreds and hundreds of cases. That's why you come to the conclusion by saying the habit. That's why you find these statements like who? موفق بن قدامة, you say Abu Umar ibn Abdul Barr, the habit of a sharia. This is the habit of a sharia. It means that you have a so deductive look at a sharia, panoramically. Yeah. This is how you look at it, which is a good term. But inshallah, we need you to fulfill it.
Educated guess.
Hey. لا, it's not. Educated guess is not the habit of a sharia. Educated guess is upon الاستقراء. الاستقراء أن تستقري أفراد الشريعة. That you go after each individual case and implementation of a sharia. Therefore, you come to the conclusion that this is the habit of sharia, which is a great word that you used. طيب. So this is the first one. What is the second one? أي نعم. إذا اشتبه عليك وهي مسألة اليقين المعارض بشك. Okay. اليقين المعارض بشك. That certainty opposed by uncertainty or by doubt. And better put to not necessarily doubt. You put uncertainty, which would include all the things that would be called uncertain. Because if you have doubt, it is included under the category of being uncertain. واضح? طيب. Now, we approach the masala that he mentioned. He said that if there are both clean and unclean garments, okay, الطاهرة بالنجسة, he should call them يعني impure. يعني we need to be consistent, and this is one of also, you know, in the legal terms, if you choose a term, you should be what? Consistent with it. يعني look, there are three processes for the legalistic terms, for the juristic terms. The first is to have a term. It's called the formula. And then that's why when you have now laws and we go over them to correct them and to go over them, there are three levels again of looking around them. One of them is that to look at a صياغة, we call صياغة النظامية or صياغة القانونية. Okay? Now the first thing that you look at is the term. That's why if you have a term, you need to assign it. So then you need term. Once you assign a term, you need to define it, and you define it very clearly. Okay? We talked about this. There is a difference between a concept. This is usually talked about in philosophy, in creedal matters, in intellectual discussions. You have concepts. It is different from definitions. In the legal world, in the jurisprudential world, we talk about terms. Terms, definitions. So then you need to define it correctly. يكون جامعا مانعا. And thirdly, you need to be what? Consistent. You can't use it in one way and you come in another place in the same nizam, in the same law or regulation, then you use it for different things. ما يصلح. Clear? So then it should be pure and impure. That's what it should be. It should be what? Pure and pure. Because we began with the pure and impure. We called the najasa impurity. We don't call it uncleanness. We called it impurity. So then we stick to it. So he said, if there are both clean and unclean garments, then you should pray a certain number of times equal to the number of unclean garments. Now, what does that mean? Let's suppose that you have 5 thobs. 5 thob, by the way. What is a thob in the Arabic language? What is a thob? لا, الثوب is a قطعة من القماش. يعني if you have a cloth in it, this is called thob. However, what we wear now, this is what we wear, it's called قميص. هذا اللي يسمى قميص. Now he is saying ثوب, يعني like this. هذا الآن ثوب. هذا قطعة من القماش. You can tailor it to be مثلا قميص. You can tailor it to be إزار. وهكذا. He's saying that let's suppose that we have 5 thawbs, 5 garments. You are certain 3 of them, they are impure. 2 of them are pure. But you cannot discern. What did you do? What do you do? He said, you will pray a certain number of times equal to the number of unclean garments. So then, how many times you're going to pray?
2.
لا, the impure are 3 in the example that we gave. So then you're going to pray 3 times. You take 1 thobe, you pray. You take 1 thobe, then you pray. You take 1 thobe, then you pray. Then you add 1 more in order to remove certainty by certainty. Okay? What do you think a Shafi'i would say? يتوخى, tries his best. He says tries his best. What do you think? Are you going to be consistent by applying al-qa'idah and saying that you're going to do this, or you're going to do your best? Why? Why? Don't just pick and choose. It's not a multiple guess. You know multiple choice? When they give you multiple choice, it's actually what? In reality, it's a multiple guess. A lot of people that they just guess.
Have one فرض.
مثلا نعم, let's suppose that you are about to pray Salat al-Maghrib الآن. Okay, and you have 5 garments. You are certain 3 of them has najasa, has bowl. But you look around, you don't find. So then you don't know which one has the bowl. But you're certain 3 of them has bowl. So what do you do according to al-madhab?
So I pray 3 times with each one
أين؟
and add 1 more.
Add 1 more. by a clean thawb يعني, by pure one. So then how many times we're going to pray? 4 times. 4 times. Let's suppose that you have 12 thawb, 11 are impure. So then how many times we're going to pray? 12. 12 times. We pray in Maghrib and we come and you pray. A lot of us think that you are crazy or that you are so righteous. You continue.
Is that the Shafi'i?
Shafi'i says no, you don't make it like this. What do? You try your best. You try to discern until it's more likely or most likely that this thawb is the pure one. أي نعم وهذا هو الصحيح.
Can you keep smelling on each one of them?
You tried, you smelled, sniff. You sniffed, you looked at it, you you investigated, you surveyed it so much. But according to al-madhab, even if you say that, well, 80%, 85%, 90% that the stove is clean, pure, they say no. According to a Shafi'i, that 80% you pray with it, and that's it. That's enough. And this is the preponderant opinion. Why, ya ikhwan? Why? Because we say that al-najasa is what? Huh? Al-najasa is, now, what is al-asl fi al-thiyab? Pure. Al-asl fi al-ashya, pure. So therefore, if you are certain that there is najasa, while you have another certainty that these thiyab are certain to be pure, this is the original ruling of them. Now you have one certainty and one certainty. Therefore, غلبة الظن will give one more certainty priority over another certainty. Okay? هذه مسألة كذلك تسمى عند علماء القواعد إذا تزاحم اليقين تساقط. إذا تزاحم اليقين غلب بالظن. If there is a conflict of certainties, likelihood wins over. Okay? Write these qawaid down. Ask them, Abdullah, about this qawaid. The one who studies fiqh without qawaid and without usul is like a person who's so smart, but he gets angry so much. So it's more likely to be what? About his emotions more than about his intellectuals. Okay? This is the point of studying usul al-fiqh. In order to master, in order to control your pulses, basically. To make sure that you have a systematic way of looking at things. So then, are you comfortable with this qaida, inshallah? Are you comfortable with it? إذا تزاحم اليقين قدم الظن. قدم الظن. What do we mean by this? That if you have one certainty and another certainty, and one of them is supported by more likely, by likelihood, then you go with that likelihood. It will give it priority. It will support it. نعم تفضل.
هذا في حال ضيق الوقت فقط.
لا حتى لو لم يضق الوقت. حتى لو لم يضق الوقت.
كان هناك
لا أبدا هو لا لأنه هو مأمور بهذا. هذه هي ثيابه. لكن لو أن أحدا جاءه بثوب فتيقنه حينئذ زال يقين بيقين. If it's by default, therefore, if we say that likelihood will give one certainty priority over one certainty, then what about if you have certainty? In that case, one person will bring thawb to you, طاهر الدفة, he will give it to you. Then now, one certainty is given more priority because that you have certainty. If it is by likelihood you're given certainty priority, then it's by default. By default, it's only logical, right? Then certainty will give more priority. In that case, it is not allowed. It's haram for you to make wudu, to wear these garments. Do you understand this scenario? Can we give the scenario for it, or it's clear? The scenario is that now we have a person has 3 thawbs hanging. 2 of them are impure. 1 of them is pure. Then while he was standing, trying his best, another person came and he gave him a thobe. And he said that this thobe is tahir. Now, can he use these thobes? He said that, well, I will pray.
No.
No, خلاص. These thiyab for him is what? All are haram for him. Why? Because certainty is supported by certainty. If it is by the likelihood one certainty is given priority over another certainty, then it's by default that if you have certainty, will give another certainty more priority over another certainty. Okay? ولهذا فإن اليقين إذا تزاحم غلب بالظن يغلب بالظن والقاعدة هذه صحيحة. So then, what's the preponderant opinion about what he said? We said يتوخى like this. أو إذا اشتبه الحلال بالحرام فإنه يتركها جميعا. Which قاعدة you're going to utilize? يتوخى. Why? What? Because we say that if a person has water and he will go to the substitute, then if there is no substitute, then he will go with whatever available. Now, what is the available? What is the available thing? These thiyab. Hence we say فاتقوا الله ما استطعتم. واضح؟ فهذه القاعدة ما نستعملها هنا إذا اشتبه الحلال بالحرام. ولذلك not only knowing القاعدة, it's the same as not only knowing the evidence, but you know the المناط, how to implement it. فهذا مهم أن تعرف الدليل وأن تعرف وجهه, يعني how to use it, and also you know how to implement it. هذه مهمة. Then the author رحمه الله said وتغسل نجاسة الكلب والخنزير 7 إحداهن بالتراب. طيب يعني الآن so we are comfortable inshallah with this issue. يعني basically now to summarize what we've been talking about, water, the original ruling or the default ruling of water is what? Pure. The second thing is that we have 3 types of water according to al-madhab, and we have 2 types of water in accordance with the more authentic opinion. Okay? The third thing is that now you don't care about these particular masail in as much as you care about al-qawaid. Who can mention al-qawaid that we just mentioned since we began? Yalla, look at what you've been writing, and you will be tested about them. يلا, the first قاعدة اليقين لا يزول بالشك. Certainty is not removed by uncertainty. The second قاعدة اليقين is removed by اليقين. Certainty is removed by certainty. Third قاعدة. تفضل بارك الله فيك. عندك يا أخوي. عندك. الاسم الكريم يا صديق أعطنا القاعدة التي عندك. أي نعم. إذا if you have halal and haram, if الحلال is obscured by الحرام, let's state it in English this way. If الحلال is obscured by الحرام, then both of them to be avoided is obligatory. صح؟ صح. القاعدة الرابعة. The fourth قاعدة.
إذا تزاحم اليقين غلب بالظن.
أحسنت. إذا تزاحم اليقين غلب بالظن. Meaning that one yaqeen has more likelihood will be supported. Which is amazing if you think about it. Subhanallah. If you now our mind functions that there is a possibility that the 2 certainties go against each other. It could be the case that 2 certainties goes against each other, but it goes against each other in reality or according to you. They don't go against each other in reality. Reality is one. But because certain and uncertain is not related to reality, it's related to the observer, the perspective. It's up to you. So in that case, it could be the case that you have two certainties going against each other. In that sense, then there is room for likelihood. So then if we give you a puzzle or a riddle, يعني a question, هذه حجية. متى يكون الظن مقدما على اليقين? When is it the case that likelihood is given a priority over certainty? When? If two certainties go against each other. Do you think? You see how our minds function? Subhanallah. It is the possibility that we have two certainties while simultaneously likelihood will be given a priority. In what sense? It will give preponderancy to one certainty over another certainty. If you think about it, it's amazing. Subhanallah. نعم. عجيب هذا عجيب. يعني عقولنا, the way that our minds function, عجيب من عجائب خلق الله. ولهذا يقول ابن تيمية رحمه الله: والعقل الصريح قليل في البني آدم. He said that العقل الصريح, pure reason is so few amongst humans. A lot of people that they don't think rationally, but reasonably. Now, and do you know what the problem is? Is that when you have a person who thinks rationally and reasonably, while in reality he's disastrous. This is the most difficult person ever you're gonna face. You are ready to wear, كما يقول الأعمش. أحمد رحمه الله reported في العلم معرفة الرجال. He's saying that Sufyan ibn Uyayna said, I heard Al-A'mash saying that some people, it is way better, it's way lighter to carry up a mountain than to sit with them. What does that mean? هو يقول إن بعض الناس لأن تحمل, actually he said لأن تحمل فيلا. He said that to carry an elephant is lighter, easier than sitting with him. Why? Because his mind is closed, stubborn. Wherever you show it, he will stick to where he is. This is about the way of thinking, because the way that he thinks. Just you change the way of thinking, you will stay with him until al-Fajr. نعم. طيب. تفضل. Question.
Can you give a scenario for the fourth qa'ida?
What is the fourth qaida?
The likelihood.
We just mentioned this. If you have these, if you have two garments, both are impure, and one is pure, 1/3 that is pure, but you cannot discern. So now, what do you have? You have two certainties. You have two of them are impure, and you are certain about that, and you have one that is pure, and you are certain about that. How to give preponderancy? But by the likelihood. So then you try your best. So if it is 80% here that is certain, then you give it priority. So then you go with one of them, and we don't ask you to repeat your prayer. واضح? And if you would like to take this understanding to its further, you say then if it is by default, if it is by likelihood, you're gonna give a priority to a certainty over a certainty, then you have a certainty. It's definitely going to give a priority to one certainty over another certainty. Like in the case, if a person brings a thobe to you, then خلاص هذا certainty. Clear inshallah. طيب, so then how many قاعدة are left?
You can combine substitute with the one that is the substitute.
أحسنت. Good. أن البدل والمبدل منه لا يجتمعان. You cannot combine between the substitute and the substituted from. سمى لا يجمع بين البدل والمبدل منه. When are we going to use this This قاعدة, and one of its implementations, for example, في كتاب الطهارة, when you have water that is only sufficient for half of your members, half of your limbs. Suppose that you have water for your face and for your head, مثلا, and that's it, and for your hands, but you don't have for your feet. What does al-madhab say? You make wudu by whatever that is available, then you make tayammum. Then we say, no, what do you do? You make tayammum, because you cannot combine between al-badal wal-mubdal min. وهكذا. أحسنت. والزائل زائل. الزائل زائل. أحسنت. ما شاء الله. So then you see how many قاعدة أمكت. يعني if you finish inshallah this book, you will have hundreds of قواعد. طيب, he says the impurity of the dog and the pig should be washed 7 times, including 1 time with soil or dirt. He says the impurity of the dog and the pig. Now the dog is known, is the wolf dog. Is it included in this ruling? لا. Now you take قاعدة. What is the قاعدة? نفهم الخطاب بمعهود المخاطب. When the Prophet ﷺ was speaking about a dog, which dog was speaking? What is that animal that is called dog? لا, not the wolf. Not the wolf. The wolf is different from a dog. Because look يا إخوة, in the Arabic language, الكلب يطلق على كل سبع. Any predatory animal, it's called, that has 4 legs, it's called كلب. ولهذا مثلا, for example, the person who attacked the Prophet ﷺ, and he ﷺ said, اللهم سلط عليه كلبا من كلابك. Oh Allah, make kalb, meaning a predatory animal, of your predatory animals attacking. And he was killed by what? By acid, by a lion. Even though that he called it what? Dog. Because kalb is سبع. ولهذا الله تعالى يقول مكلبين تعلمونهن مما علمكم الله. So then, when we're talking about dog here, we're talking about a specific predator, a specific type of an animal. Not everything that is included under the banner of dog. Because wolf, linguistically, wolf is dog. Biologically, yes, they all agree. Actually, they say that the wolf, that the wolf is evolved from a dog. The dog evolved from a wolf. That's what they are saying. Because of what? Because of the genetic similarities. Not only the genetic similarities, but it's all the genetic code. They are the same. But it's only we call those dogs and we call these wolves. Like now you find some dogs, you don't. If I say to you that these are wolves, you will believe it, and vice versa. Okay, and because of the breeding, okay, they did it a lot. Now many of the dogs that they were wolves and vice versa because of the breeding, they bred them. They did it. Anyways, so then we're talking about a dog. We're talking about that particular animal that we call dog, not wolves. Okay, and the pig is big. Pig is known. He said that the impurity of the dog and the pig, al-khinzir, should be washed 7 times, including 1 time with soil. Now, as for the dog, we have a specific evidence for this. Now,
The difference between a pig and a boar, is that considered? That's considered the same way.
لا, they all are called khinzir في اللغة العربية. But these are different because khinzir a general term for multiples. Like if you have قط مثلا, cat, then you have different types. Like if you go to Pitku, you will see different types of cats, but these are all cats. These are cats. The type of this species is called cat. Okay, but we are animals. But we are a specific species of animals that is called human. طيب. Now, for dogs, we have a specific evidence for this. That is reported في الصحيحين وغيرهما من حديث أبي هريرة ومن حديث أنس ومن حديث جابر ومن حديث عبد الله بن مغفل. That the Prophet ﷺ said, إذا ولغ الكلب في إناء أحدكم فليغسله سبعا. That the Prophet ﷺ said that if the dog ولغ, how is this translated? If the
Salivate.
لا, not salivate. ولغ. يعني I will describe the action and you try your best to translate it. If it puts its tongue in a liquid thing, then it moves it. What do you call this? Huh? Not liquid. ولغ. Not only dipped, then it moved.
Drink.
لا. So this is the action that I just said to you. It's not licking. You know the meaning of licking, right? But this is called ولوغ. ولوغ إذا أدخل لسانه في الماء ثم حركه. At any event, I just described it to you. If he does that, now, the Prophet ﷺ said that if he does that, then the ina, which or where he did this, should be washed 7 times. Now, he said, in some narrations, he said the first one by dirt or by oil, by soil. In some narrations, it said one of them by soil. In one narration, it says, which is only reported by Abdullah ibn Mughaffal, and one narration of Qatada, taken from Muhammad ibn Sirin and Abi Hurairah. He added الثامنة بالتراب. عفروه الثامنة, made the 8th by soil. Okay? In order not to engage in hadithi discussions, the preponderant opinion is that عفروه الثامنة is authentically proven. Okay? And it's not about having 1/8 wash, but it's about that because the soil is separated from water, he counted taking the soil, even if you mix it with water, in one wash as one مرة يعني. He counted as one count. He counted it to be the 8th. Clear? So therefore we say that if a dog moves its tongue inside a liquid or water, then we wash it 7 times. Okay? One of them to be mixed or added to soil. Okay? And definitely it's better to be in the first wash. Why is that? In order to make sure that the following washes will clean it up. Clear, inshallah? طيب. What does that tell? It tells that the saliva of a dog is what? Impure. That's what it tells. طيب. What it tells also to some ulama, that the rest of the body of the dog is what? Is also impure. Why? They say it because its saliva is produced by its body. So therefore, if the saliva is impure, then we generalize by saying that the rest of its body is impure. And this is the opinion of Al-Shafi'iyya and also Al-Hanabi. Now, What else? They say that it is unanimously agreed upon that pig is worse than a dog. If the dog is impure, then by analogy, the pig
It's
more impure. So they don't have a specific evidence to say that, specific evidence meaning narrational evidence, that the pig is impure. The only thing that we know about it is not to eat from its meat. But if you touch it, it does not mean that it is najis. But they say that if the saliva method of the pig touches your if the saliva is in the water, then you need to wash it 7 times by analogy to the dog. Okay, so then this is what al-madhab says, what al-hanabila say, and this is what al-shafi'iyya say. But without further discussion, we just point the preponderant opinion and you stick to al-madhab. The preponderant opinion is that the dog is that the only thing that is impure, najis, of it is its saliva. Why? Because this is what the evidence points to. إِذَا وَلَغَ. That's what it says. Secondly, we cannot make analogy to the rest of its body. Why? Because if you say that we say that a dog is impure by analogy to its saliva, because saliva is derived from its body, then we say that a human is not pure because its urine is derived from its body. So then, since a nas only specifies the text, the narration only specifies the saliva, then you cannot make the analogy to the rest of its body. Furthermore, the dogs during the time of the Prophet ﷺ used to enter a masjid and leave, and the Prophet ﷺ never warned them against. يقول عبد الله بن عمر في الصحيحين حديث, this report في الصحيحين, never warned them against their body. He never said don't touch them. Some of the ulama, like al-Maliki, they say that even its saliva is not impure. Why? They say that because it is allowed to us that if a dog hunts, we we are not commanded to wash it. Especially that if we wash it, we're gonna corrupt the meat. كيف نقول نفسد الميت؟ نعم, spoil the meat. We will spoil the meat. And the Sharia didn't mention that once the dog hunts, that we will wash that which it hunts. Right? So they say that, therefore, washing it 7 times is ta'abbudi. It's not because of the impurity of the saliva. It's ta'abbudi. Clear? But the preponderant opinion is that we say that its saliva is impure. The rest of its body is what? Pure. Yeah, for example, if a dog passes you and it touches you in an elevator or you in the walk side, do you need to go and wash your clothes? No.
So the house dog also.
I'm the house dog, but you can but it's not allowed to have the dog inside your house. Not because of the impurity, because the malaika won't enter. Okay, unless for 3 reasons. طيب, once this is established, then is the pig impure or impure? To touch it, not to eat it. أعوذ بالله. This is unanimously agreed upon. If you touch it, it is not najis. Because the only evidence that they have that the pig is impure is what? The analogy to the dog. Once we establish that the dog is impure, except its saliva, then المقيس عليه is dropped. المقيس عليه يعني the analogized to is dropped. واضح إن شاء الله؟ Clear? And this is enough. يعني further discussions will be إن شاء الله in higher level. تفضل.
But the pig's saliva is still impure.
Hmm?
But the pig's saliva is
No,
it's not.
no, it's not.
Only the meat, yeah?
No, only the meat that is not allowed to eat. If someone says to you, it is impure, you say, why? Why? واضح? Well, because it is dirty. There is a difference. We just said to you, there is a difference between impurity and something being dirt. Sweat is dirt or what? Dirt. But it's pure. The thing that comes out of the nose, is it يعني filthy? It's filthy, but it's pure. So then you need to distinguish between something that is qadir, al-mustaqdar, and something that is pure. Like now, if you look at, to some people, to look at al-dhab, you know dhab? You know dhab? Huh? A type of a lizard, because I'm afraid to say a lizard. It's not a lizard, it's a particular type. The one that the Prophet ﷺ didn't eat. Why? Because he didn't? He was disgusted. Why? Because he is not raised up with it. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم إني أجد نفسي إني أجدني أعاف إنه لم يكن بأرض قومي. It's not in my land. I used not to see it, because you need wide desert. That's where you will have dhab. So he was not able to eat it. So there is a difference between something that you are not that is qadir. Like now, a lot of Chinese people, many of the things that you consider to be qadir, filthy, their saliva will drop when they see it. They will eat them. Do you eat snake? It's their best food. Yeah. Some people said that it is in the Chinese culture that they would eat everything that has 4 legs, except tables. Okay? So because this is the way that they are raised. They eat cats. They take them, they hit them several times, then they grill them, then have a nice food. The closest madhab to them is Al-Maliki, by the way, in Al-At'imah. Al-Maliki, it fits them. Al-Maliki, they're so easy with food to eat. They make it so little to be restrictive. They eat a lot of things. Al-Maliki. And the strictest and the most strict is the Shafi'i. Shafi'iyya are the most, the Hanafiyya. They don't eat from some types of from al-bahr. وهكذا. على كل حال, the point is that you need to distinguish between something that is qadir and something that is pure. Now, I remember a Dutch person said to me, "How do you even eat camel?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Look at his face." Because he's not raised with this. And I said to him, "Look at the face of a pig. How do you even sleep at night when you sleep?" So it's about how you're raised. Subhanallah. Now,
when we wash with dirt, do we mix water with it, or just take the dirt dry and
نعم. أحسنت. There are 3 ways of doing it. The first way is that you put dirt, soil, then you pour water, then you clean it. This is one way. The second way is that you have water, then you add soil. Okay, you have water, then you put dirt afterwards, then you remove it. The third way is that you mix them. يعني you mix water with soil, then you put them, then you wash it. واضح؟ طيب يا إخوة, can you use Clorox instead? Clorox, this is the way that you pronounce it? Clorox, and I go. Clorox.
You said last class that when you have have what's narrationally available,
Uh-huh.
you go to that first. And when you don't have that, you use what's experimentally proven second.
أحسنت. بارك الله فيك. So we say that now during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, were there alternatives to soil? Yeah, like al-ushnan or al-khatmi, like soap. They are similar to soap, but he didn't sallallahu alaihi wasallam mention them. Right? So that tells you that you only use soil. If it is not available, then you go to someone else. طيب, if you use someone else, do you use a tasbih 7 times? You use only once instead of soil, while you maintain the number 7. Now, he said, including one time with soil. طيب. Then he said, ويجزئ في سائر النجاسات 3 نقية. It shall be sufficient for the rest of the impurities to wash them 3 times until purified. He said that now for the rest of the najasat, this is what al-madhab. What do you mean by the rest of impurities? يعني other than a dog or khinzir. Why? Because look, the madhab, they divide najasa into 3 levels. We have a najasa or impurity that is heavy. Because look, first of all, we have 2 types of najasat, not levels. We have 2 types of najasat. We have real najasa, or sometimes it's called najasa ainiya, corporeal impurity. And we have a najasa, this is the second type, that is called najasa hukmiya. Hukmiya, considered najasa, to be considered najasa. What do you mean by that? For the corporeal one, it means that if you wash it, it will continue to be najasa, meaning that it's irremovable, like a pig. Okay, like a pig, or what do you call it? Festices? Huh? Feces. This is corporeal, or urine. This is corporeal, meaning that it's irremovable. Irremovable. However, there are 2 opinions if it transfers. إذا تحولت النجاسة. Okay? If a najasa, if an object that is najasa, if impurity is transferred into purity, is it still impure, or because we're talking about the status that we have now? Now, chemically speaking, is the other matter the same as the matter that it transformed from? No. Now, if you have like the H2O, if you have 2 atoms of hydrogen, they are completely different from water. You have different matter, different madda, right? So therefore, you cannot say that chemically speaking, if you have impurity is a transferring to impurity, then it becomes what? If you have impurity transfers to purity, it is not impure. It will be now considered to be pure because it is. It is. واضح? So this is called about الاستحالة. طيب, here is an issue. What about الخمر? خمر, الكحول, wine مثلا. If الخمر is transferred, now we have 2 possibilities. Either that you transfer it yourself by adding particular chemical مثلا, or removing a particular chemical, then it will be transferred to something else, right? Or that it's not by you, it's by the action of Allah Azza wa Jal, meaning that you leave it مثلا in the sun, then because of the chemical interactions it is transferred to something else. Now, if we say that al-khamr is what? Najisa. Okay? The majority of the ulama, actually the madahib al-arba'a, they consider al-khamr to be impure, despite the fact that the preponderant opinion is that what? It is pure. Can one of you give us an evidence that al-khamr is pure? Do you mean do you understand the meaning that it's pure? Let's suppose that it poured over your garment. Do you need to wash it? Is it obligatory to remove it? Because it is impurity. نعم تفضل.
When the Sahaba poured the khamr in the streets,
Mhm.
and back then they had like the shoes they had, you get on it and stuff like that.
And he did they do it during the time of the Prophet ﷺ? Yes, because they did it after they knew that al-khamr is haram. طيب, did the Prophet ﷺ require them to clean them up? And therefore, what do we call this type of sunnah? Iqrariya, approved. He approved ﷺ of their actions. So therefore we say that al-khamr is pure. But let's now, in the scenario, based upon the opinion of the majority of the ulama, that it is impure. Okay? Now we have two ways of its transformation. It's either that it will be transformed through the action of you or through the action of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ulama says that if it is transformed by you, then it continues to be impure, even if it is spoiled or transferred or transformed to different material. If, however, it is transformed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they say that it is what? Pure. This is the fatwa of Umar radiallahu anhu. This is what Umar radiallahu anhu said. If Allah أفسدها يقول هذا خطب بهم في الجابية when he was close to Asham, and he stated this. So then the preponderant opinion is that when you have a najasa, impurity, that is transferred from one matter to another matter, then that matter is pure, then it is pure. That's the ruling of it. Okay? طيب. So then we have two types of what we call najasa, impurity. The first type is what we call the corporeal one, meaning that it's irremovable. This is النجاسة العينية. بعض الأحيان تسمى النجاسة الحقيقية. Okay? Like a dog to المذهب. نجاسة عينية. Like a pig. This is نجاسة عينية. وهكذا. Another type of najasa is نجاسة حكمية. What is النجاسة الحكمية? هي النجاسة الطارئة على محل طاهر. It's the impurity that happens to be on the spot of a pure place. This is what we call najasa hukmiyya. Okay? Therefore, najasa hukmiyya is what? Removable. Is removable. طيب. These two types of najasa, these two types of impurities are of three levels. We have heavy najasa, we have light najasa, we have medium or moderate najasa. Now, what is the heavy najasa? You can give it, you can recognize it by definition or by counting. If you want to, what is the heavy najasa? We say that it's a pig or dog. Why? Because you can give it by counting them. Or if you would like to give it if you'd like to recognize it by definition, you say that any najasa that we are required to wash 7 times. So any najasa that we are required to wash 7 times, then it's heavy najasa, they call it. Okay? So then either that you know it by saying that we need 7 pig and a dog, or you say any najasa إما أن تعرف بالمثال وإما أن تعرف بالرسم بالحد. So that you say that it's what is heavy najasa? Any najasa that you need to wash it 7 times, then it's called heavy najasa. If, however, or you can define it by its components, by saying that it's a pig or dog. Now, what is a light najasa? Light najasa, again, you know it either by its components or you know it by its definition. You can recognize it by its definition. Now, if we would like to know it, to recognize it by its components, then it's two types. It's either to be the urine of a boy before he eats food, infant, before he eats food. The second thing is al-madhi. What is the translation of al-madhi? Pre-seminal fluid. Wow, very long. أكيد في different name. Anybody here is يعني amongst you is a doctor? What do you call it? Madhi, the one that happens to يعني man and woman when they are so desiring.
The other word is
Not formal.
it's very
لا خلاص, we are not in the streets. No, we are in a يعني علمي session.
have the same one that he asked.
Huh?
Ejaculatory fluid.
Ejaculatory.
Pre-ejaculatory.
Pre-ejaculatory fluid. Very long, يعني. I think it has a name. It has a specific name. It's one word. Pre-ejaculatory. What?
It says pre-cum. Pre-cum. That's what it says.
Informal, okay. So anyways, it's the pre-ejaculatory fluid. This is with light najasa. So it's impure, but its impurity is light. Now, how to recognize it by definition? We say that any najasa that you don't need to wash it, you need to tash it. يعني spring the water over it. This is called light najasa, light impurity. Okay? طيب, what is then we have the third level, that is the moderate, the one in between. Now, what is this one? That it's the rest of the najasat. In what way? That you need to wash it. على المذهب you need to wash it how many times? 3 times. 3 times. And the correct opinion is to wash it how many? Until you remove it. طيب, that's why he said وَيُجْزِئُ فِي سَائِرِ النَّجَسَاتِ ثَلَاثٌ مُقِيٍّ. It shall be sufficient for the rest of the impurities to wash them 3 times until purified. So then, the al-madhab, they argue that any najasa, the moderate najasa, that it should be washed 3 times. Why? They said, the Prophet ﷺ said, إذا استيقظ أحدكم من نومه بالليل فليغسل يده 3 فإن أحدكم لا يدري أين باتت يده. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. It says that if anybody amongst you woke up or wakes up after sleeping, let him wash his hands 3 times. Indeed, he does not know where his hands were. Okay? So they say that, look, for an najasa, for an impurity that is likely to happen, he asked you to do what? 3 times of washing. Then, if it is certain, by default it should be 3. Yani, if you are with the possibility that there is a najasa, you are requested to wash your hands 3 times. Then if you are certain that there is a najasa, then you wash it 3 times. This is one evidence. The second evidence is that they say that, look, when we are requested to make istijmar meaning that you remove an najasa, the impurity, by other than water, okay, like by tissues. We are requested to do it how many? 3 times. They say that if you are requested to remove a najasa 3 times, which is that najasa, then the rest of the najasat are equal to it. Hence, we will analogize saying that you need to wash 3 times. These are their evidences. The preponderant opinion. We were talking about the author rahimahullah saying that it shall be sufficient for the rest of the impurities to wash them 3 times until purified. And we just stated that the preponderant opinion, which is actually one narration of Ahmad rahimahullah, that is sufficient to have one wash if it's removing the impurity, because the impurity is a corporeal object that is intended by Shara to remove. The moment that is removed, then what the Sharia wants is attained. Clear, inshallah? And this is the opinion, one narration of Ahmad rahimahullah, and it's the opinion of Abu Hanif, and it is the preponderant one. But the al-madhab, they say that you need 3. You need 3 purifying washes. That's what they opine, based on the evidences that we just pointed to you. So if you'd like to stick to al-madhab now, until you don't want to confuse yourself, that there is no problem, but the preponderant opinion is what we have just stated to you, based on the evidence without further clarification. That's enough up to this level. He says, وإن كانت النجاسة على الأرض فصبة واحدة تذهب بعينها لقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم صبوا على بول الأعرابي ذنوبا من ماء. He says, if the impurity is on the ground, then pouring over it will remove its harm, because of the saying of the Messenger, blessings and peace be upon him. So pour upon the urine of the Bedouin 1 bucketful of water. Now, the najasa that we were talking about is either, now, a najasa, the impurity, is either to be on the body, or to be on the garments, or to be on the ground. The rulings that we were talking about, in accordance with al-madhab, are if the impurity is on the body, or on the garments. If, however, the impurity is on the ground, they agree, al-madhab, to some extent, not to make it even more complicated. Generally, all in all, they agree that it is sufficient to do it once, like what the author rahimahullah saying, that then pouring over it will remove its harm, meaning you don't need the counts. Now, just we need to remove it. That's what the author rahimahullah stated. Why? They say that because we have hadith al-Arabi, the Bedouin. Al-Arabi is a person who lives in al-Badiyah. This is what we call al-Arabi. And al-Arabi is not related to race or a tribe or to belief. Arabi is a state, or if you would call it a condition. Meaning that if you don't live in the civil complex, then we call that person who is living there Badawi. The one who is living in the civil complex, we call it civilian, Hadari. And in a Sharia, there are multiple rulings related to a person who is Badawi, or a person who is Hadari. For example, one of the criterion for matching between man and woman is that they need to be of the same condition, of the same status. One Bedouin will marry from a Bedouin. One civilian will marry a civilian. This is one of their matching. Albeit that this is not the preponderant opinion, but what I'm saying is that there are rulings. For example, al-madhab, a Bedouin cannot witness against a civilian. Okay? Nor a civilian can be a witness against a Bedouin. Why? Because they don't know about each other. So it's more likely that a transaction, for example, that happened and they don't witness it. Because of this minuscule doubt that al-madhab opine that they don't witness against each other. This is not the preponderant opinion, but it is. There is a hadith, Sunan Abi Dawud, but it is weak. The point is that there are multiple rulings that would ensue as a consequence of a person being in the condition of Bedouin or being civilian, حضري. It is also one of also the rulings. You know الشفعة? There are a lot of rulings. You know الشفعة? What is الشفعة يا محمد؟ يا يوسف. Huh? لا, let's say شفاعة, شفعة. Okay, there is a ruling called the shuf'ah. What is a shuf'ah? We have two partners. Okay, they share the ownership of a property. One of them decides to sell its part, its share. Okay, now the partner, Islamically speaking, has the right to buy that share. He is given a priority over the buyer. Yani the partner is given a priority over that partner, over that buyer who is going to buy it from the first partner by the same price that partner was that buyer was about to buy it. Clear? This is called the shuf'ah. استحقاق انتزاع حصة الشريك من شريكه بالثمن الذي استقر عليه العقد. This is called shuf'ah. Now, they say that a Bedouin cannot have shuf'ah over a civilian. Okay, why? Because yes, he is a partner, but where does he live? In the desert. So he's not getting the benefit of the share. So therefore, we say that he won't get the benefit of a shuf'ah. So there are multiple rulings related to a person being in the condition or in the state of Bedouin or to be Hadari. طيب, who is that person who we would call to be a Bedouin? The ulama rahimahullah say that it is that person who lives in the Badiyah. طيب, for how long? They have different. يعني what makes عربية? How do we make it عربية? لأن في الصلاة من سكن البادية تجابها. Because the general ruling يا إخوة is that you are not allowed to be Arabi unless there is حاجة, there is need. Because if you go there, you want to pray Jama'ah, you are far away from the places of knowledge, of mingling with the Muslim society and knowing what's going on. So you will be away from that. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إنما يأكل الذئب من الغنم القاصية. The wolf will eat from the sheep, the faraway sheep, the alienated sheep. So then it is either disliked so much or it's unallowed to be Arabi unless there is a need. طيب, for how long, يعني when is it for that person to be a Bedouin? Like now to go and live in the middle of the forest. Okay, to have a what do you call a kuch? What is a kuch? What? ارفع صوتك لو سمحت. A tent, مثلا a tent. Okay? Or a cabin, yes. And to go there. هذا لا يجوز, يسمى العزلة عند العلماء. الاعتزال. To go and to be a Bedouin. طيب, for how long? The preponderant opinion, some ulama said 40, some ulama said 2 weeks, some ulama said a month. And the preponderant opinion is that it is 3 weeks, meaning 3 Jum'ah. Because he sallallahu alayhi wasallam prohibited a person from not attending 3 Jum'ah consecutively. If that person does it, then he sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that his heart will be covered. His heart will be covered. يكونن من الغافلين. So then, therefore, we say that if a person goes and lives in such a state, then he is going to be considered a Bedouin. Okay, even if he has a very good car, he has a good salary and everything. So it's about a state, not about race, not about a type of job, unless there is a need. If there is a need, yeah, there is no problem. And this is called al-i'tizal. يعني when is it allowed for a person to isolate himself? This is called al-uzla. Like Al-Khattabi wrote a book about al-uzla. Ahmad rahimahullah wrote a book about al-uzla. Abu Nu'aym wrote a book about al-uzla. يعني when is it allowed for a person to isolate himself, يعني to go to a solitude, to be يعني away from people? It is allowed in two scenarios. The first scenario is that when there is fitan. What do you mean by fitan? Muslims fighting each other. This is called fitna, whereby you don't recognize where the truth is, or you know where the truth is, but you cannot change anything. You don't have any impact. What do? You isolate yourself. It is allowed for you to go and to be isolated. Like what Muhammad ibn Muslim. That's why many of the Sahaba, when the fitna happened, what did they do? They اعتزلوا الفتنة. Some of them that they isolated themselves in their houses. Some of them they isolated themselves in the Badiya, like Muhammad ibn Salam. Actually, he ﷺ allowed him to do it. He said to him, when a fitna happened, you go there. That's why Al-Hajjaj blamed him. Why? He said that ردها بعد الإسلام. ردها يعني التعرب. فقال that I heard the Prophet ﷺ say it. Then he reported that the Prophet ﷺ allowed him when there is fitna. The Prophet ﷺ said, يوشك أن يكون خير مال المسلم غنم يتبع بها شعث الجبال يفر بدينه من الفتن. الصحيحين وغيرهما حديث سعيد الخدري رضي الله عنه. So then when there are fitan, fighting, everybody is killing everybody, then what do? You flee. And this is an issue, by the way. Should we talk about it here, or if there is now during the time of al-fitna? Okay, during the time of al-fitna, it is the opinion of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum that they have differed into three major opinions. If the fitna happens, some of the Sahaba opined and believed that you should participate with the one who has the truth. This is the opinion of Aisha, Ali, Zubair, Talha. You participate with the person who has the truth. You supported him. You support him. This is one opinion. Another opinion says that you don't participate with anybody. However, if a person is getting inside your house, and he is about to kill you, then you are given the right to defend yourself. This is the opinion of Abdullah bin Umar and Imran bin Husayn and others. The third opinion, which is supported by evidence, is that you, even if he enters your house and he is about to kill you, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كن كخيري ابن آدم. He said صلى الله عليه وسلم, be the like of the best of the sons of Adam. What did he do? قال لئن بسطت إلي يدك لتقتلني أكمل ما أنا بباسط يدي إليك لأقتلك إني أخاف الله رب العالمين إني أريد أن تبوء بإثمي وإثمك فتكون من أصحاب النار وذلك جزاء الظالم. So then what do? You don't defend. In actuality, he صلى الله عليه وسلم في حديث أبي ذر, he said that take your sword and hit the rock by it. Meaning you don't defend. When is that? When there is fitan between Muslims. طيب, if he is والعياذ بالله coming to your عرض, coming to rape, do you defend? Yes. Because now it's not about killing, it's about what? Humiliating. It's not about fitna. There is no fitna here. So if he comes to rape for your ird, then you defend yourself. However, if he is just coming to take the wealth, the money, or to take the soul, let him do it and he will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the preponderant opinion. This is the opinion of a lot of Sahaba, like Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, Muhammad ibn Salama, مثل ابن مسعود البدري رضي الله عنه, and others. And they are supported. This is the opinion of Abu Dharr. This is the opinion that is supported by the evidence. Anyways, so then this is the first scenario where a person is allowed to do what? To do what? تعرب, الاعتزال, to go to a solitude. The second one is that when a person is chased by a wrongful or a wronging unjust ruler. The Salaf says that you cannot go to object, definitely, but you can isolate and تختفي. You can do it. If you can do it, you do it. And this has been done by multiple of us Salaf. It has been done by Al-Hasan al-Basri. It has been done by Al-Sha'bi. It has been done by Al-Thawri. It has been done by Al-A'mash. It has been done by Ahmad ibn Hanbal. You know his story when he was chased? That he used to go from house to house of his companions, of his ashab, when he was chased. So he stayed, rahimahullah, in the house of Abu Bakr al-Marudi. After 2 days, Abu Bakr al-Marudi came to him and said that خف الطلب, يعني nobody now, nobody is going after you. He said, no, I need one more night to be like the Prophet ﷺ, because he stayed in the cave for في غار حراء. He stayed for 3 nights. So then there is, يعني he can make isolation. Ahmad rahimahullah didn't even make salat jama'ah. Some of Salaf didn't do it, like Sa'id ibn Musayyib, when he was told that Al-Walid ibn Abdul Malik is going after him, that you don't go to a masjid, otherwise it is highly likely that he will chop your head. He rahimahullah said, no, I don't want to miss al-jama'ah. And he went there and he was, alhamdulillah, protected. He didn't even touch him. The point is that in these 2 scenarios, we are allowed to do what? اعتزال, عزلة, تعرب, we call it. Otherwise, it is not allowed. For how long? That we will consider that person to be making ta'arrub? 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So then a Bedouin, it happened that during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, that there was a Bedouin. This is reported of Sahihain wa ghayrihi, hadith, very famous hadith. Hadith Abdullah Thumamah bin Anas, an Anas. That a Bedouin came to the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ, then he went to a corner. Then what he did, because he's a Bedouin, he's not civil, he does not have etiquette. What he did, he urinated in the masjid. I'm asking all of you, ya ikhwan, if now one person enters the masjid, then he begins urinating here, in front of us. What you're gonna do? Be honest. Huh? Yeah, they will yell at him. They will be so angry and so on and so forth. How did he sallallahu alaihi wasallam act? How did he sallallahu alaihi wasallam act? He said, leave him. Leave him. And then when he is done, he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا تزرموه. Don't even say anything. Shh. Leave him. Until he is done. When he is done, he didn't even say to him, clean it up. What did he say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Bring dalu, like a bucket full, okay? Bucket full of water. He didn't even ask him. Then he said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, صبوا عليه الماء. صبوا عليه سجلا من الماء. Why he didn't, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, why he sallallahu alayhi wasallam asked him not to touch them, not to do anything? First of all, if they went to him, what would happen? He would turn, then instead of only one place, it will be all over. So he said, لا تزرموه, leave him. And secondly, he will stop it. And if a person stops urinating in the middle of it, it's unhealthy. It's not good. So it's going to harm him. So he said, leave him. Also, if now he's a Bedouin, what do you expect from a Bedouin? He will react harshly. He is uncivilized. He will react harshly. So then, instead of only having this problem, how many problems are we going to have? A lot of fight in the masjid. Fourthly, he sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to him, he sallallahu alayhi wasallam didn't ask him to clean it up. Why? he wanted sallallahu alayhi wasallam to educate him by example, because he's a Bedouin. He's not a person who would sit and be lectured. He learns through practice. So he sallallahu alayhi wasallam let them teach him by example, by doing. Because if you teach him now, he forget now. He's not civilized. To the extent that when he sallallahu alayhi wasallam did this, that he was so amazed. He went to pray with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and even that same Bedouin, what happened to him? He prayed with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Then he began raising his voice. Some ulama say that it is the same story, and some ulama say it is not story. The preponderant opinion, it is not actually. It is not the same story. But for those who say that it is the same story, what happened is that because of the way that he sallallahu alayhi wasallam did with him, he said that Allahumma arhamni wa Muhammada wa la tarham ma'ana ahadan abada. May Allah have mercy upon me and Muhammad. He didn't even say Rasulullah. And don't include anybody amongst us. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, لَقَدْ ضَيَّقْتَ وَاسِعًا. Why do you make it? Allah يقول وَرَحْمَتِي وَسِعَتْ كُلَّ شَيء. Why do you, only me and you? ولهذا, there was a Khariji who repented from this terrible madhab by being a little bit rational. They were making everybody kafir, as you know. Then, because everybody is kafir, there was only him and his friend. Then he woke up. He said, look, now Allah says, Jannah, arduha as-samawatu wal-ard. Only me and you will be in it. We need to be rational, right? So that's why he left this madhab, because he noticed where it leads to. المهم then, and this Bedouin, this what he did, and that's what he sallallahu alayhi wasallam dealt with him alayhi salatu wassalam. Look how he dealt with him sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah يقول ولو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك. ولو كنت فظا يعني if you are aggressive, غليظ القلب, you are hard-hearted, لانفضوا من حولك. Even your companions will be alienated from you. They will go away from you. قال تعالى فاعف عنهم واستغفر لهم وشاورهم في الأمر. Allah يقول لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. يا إخوة, when we want to reach out, we need to be what? Gentle, merciful. Ya ikhwani, it's so bad for those young people that they began to seek knowledge. And once they began seeking knowledge, how they become? They become harsh, hard. This is a sign that they don't seek it for the sake of Allah. This is a sign that they don't want it for the sake of Allah. They want it to be above. It's very bad. Very, very, very bad. ولهذا يا إخوة, if you don't notice that the more knowledge you get, the more of your heart will be softened. You will be able to deal with people with mercy and gentleness. If you don't notice that, then you question your intention. Why I am not like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So then you need to be smiled. Ya akhi, smile. And some people, their face is like a lizard. Ya akhi, smile. It's free. It's free, totally free, and your weight won't go down. Ya akhi, be free. Easy. And he thinks he knows, while he is absolutely ignorant. But this is the difficulty with such people. ولهذا يا إخوة علينا أن نكون رحماء. قال الله تعالى محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم. يقول الله تعالى فسوف يأتي الله بقوم يحبهم ويحبونه. أكمل أذلة على المؤمنين أعزة على الكافرين. Be lenient. The Prophet ﷺ said when we pray for a temporary gathering, he said صلى الله عليه وسلم لينوا بأيدي إخوانكم. Be lenient with the hands, يعني with your brothers. يعني let that person come. Be close. لينوا بأيدي إخوانكم. Be lenient. Okay? Not, please, brother, close the gap. Why are you behaving like this? Why are you behaving like this? Subhanallah. لينوا بأيدي إخوانكم. لينوا. Be lenient. Then, what do you think about not temporary gathering, societal gathering? If we are asked in the prayer for a temporary gathering, we are asked to be lenient, to let go. Then what about if we have يعني permanent gathering? ولهذا يا إخوة علينا أن نلين بأيدي إخواننا. If you meet your brother, smile يا أخي at his face. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم تبسمك في وجه أخيك صدقة. يا أخي, you're getting صدقة. تبسمك, smiling at the face of your brother is what? صدقة, a part of charity. You're giving charity. So then make your life easy by being easy, by being lenient with people. طيب. So then this Arabi, that's what he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked the Sahaba to clean up his urine with. So then until it is removed. واضح إن شاء الله. And again, we say that the preponderant opinion is that you make that all of the impurities are purified through removal. Through removal. Without the number of counting. Okay? As long as they are removed. Now, then he said وَيُجْزِئُ فِي بَوْلِ الْغُلَامِ الَّذِي لَمْ يَأْكُلِ الطَّعَامَ النَّطْحُ. Now he's talking about the types of impurities that we just call them moderate, light. So he talked about the heavy ones, he talked about the moderate ones, now he's talking about the light ones. He said, it is sufficient to remove the impurity of a male infant's urine that hasn't started eating regular food, to sprinkle the area, which is better than tossing, to sprinkle the area with water so it's wet but not soaked, not washed, we call it. لا يغسل نضح يسمى النضح. Now, what is he says ويجزئ في بول الغلام. So it's for his bowl. So then, other than a bowl, you need to wash it. You need to wash it off. Alan, inshallah, we will be back to you. ويجزئ في بول الغلام. So then, it's غلام. He translated as male infant. He said الذي لم يأكل الطعام. That he does not eat food. What do the fuqaha rahimahullah mean that he does not eat food? They have three opinions regarding this, and we will mention them so briefly, and we'll give you the preponderant opinion without elaborating on this, because this is going to consume our time, and you don't need this. He said that literally, if he does not eat food, if he eats food once, then that rule is not applicable. Okay? لم يأكل الطعام. Okay? Let's suppose that after a month, he ate. Let's suppose that after a month, he was fed and he had it. They said that خلاص. Now you cannot, now his urine is like the urine of anybody. Some ulama said that الذي لم يأكل الطعام, they said that it means that he is not مفطوم. الذي لم يفطم. What does that mean? Meaning that he is not breastfed anymore. So that's the meaning. So then if he eats food but he is not yet but he's still breastfed, they say you can give him لأنه لم يأكل الطعام لم يفطم. واضح? The third opinion is that they said that it is that it's about the dependency of food. We say that if he depends for his growth on breastfeeding, yani milk, then he has not yet eaten ta'am. If, however, he drinks milk, but he depends on food for his growth, then we say that akal al-ta'am. He eats food. This is the preponderant opinion. واضح يا إخوة? Who would repeat what I've just said? And we are giving you just the gist of it. نعم.
So the three definitions of the infant that doesn't eat food.
نعم. The first opinion.
First opinion is breast milk only.
Mean that he never ate even one يعني worse.
The second opinion,
So they take it literally. لم يأكل الطعام. Literally. Now this madhab is whose? الظاهرية. هذا مذهب الظاهري. الذي بعده. That the following opinion.
that they take on breast milk and they take on other foods along with the breast milk.
Exactly. طيب the third لا they say لا the second opinion is what؟ لا يفطم أي يفطم as long as he is not stopped breastfeeding, even if he is mixing, but as long as he is not stopped breastfeeding, he is considered لم يأكل الطعام. يعني حتى لا يفطم. الله يقول والوالدات يرضعن أولادهن يعني, and there is a difference of opinion to at what time that يعني that person يعني that there is breastfeeding, there is محرم. You know سريان الرضاع, when you breastfeed a person, when the mother breastfeeds that person, then in all things considered, he will be what? Her son. And the one who caused the milk, al-fahl we call him, he will be his father. And the offsprings of those two will be his siblings. And if you go up, the father, yani the parents of both will be his parents, and the sibling and the offsprings of the what do you call the grandparents will be his uncles and aunts. Okay. Now, up to what time? What is the time?
2 years.
Now, the majority of the ulama says that it is during the time period of 2 years. لأن الله قال والوالدات يرضعن أولادهن حولين كاملين. يعني it is allowed for them. It is not a command. يعني meaning that up to 2 complete years. طيب. What is الرضاع المحرم? And we'll talk about this inshallah when we reach this. يعني they say that up till this moment that he is not yet stopped from breastfeeding, he is لم يأكل الطعام. Okay, so therefore his urine will be light to be purified. The third opinion says
it depends on if that child is dependent on breast milk for their development.
أحسنت. If it depends on the breast milk to develop, then لم يأكل الطعام. So then we wash it, we sprinkle it. If, however, he depends on food for his development, then we wash it as everybody's urine. واضح إن شاء الله. So then we have these 3 conditions. It is only in his bowel, only in his urine, and it's for the male infant, so that it is not the female infant. And thirdly, لم يأكل الطعام, in accordance with what we have just pointed out to you. Clear inshallah? But what's the evidence for that? مثلا we have the evidence of hadith نعم قيس بنت محصن, that she brought a male infant to the Prophet ﷺ, and he ﷺ put it in his lap. Then he urinates on the garments of the Prophet ﷺ. What did he ﷺ do? He just asked for water, then he poured it over it. Yeah, and he sprinkled it. عليه الصلاة والسلام. Also, we have the evidence of hadith بالسمح. Also, يغسل من بول الجارية وينضح من ويرش من بول الغلام عند أبي داود. حديث بالسمح. Anyways, so we have evidence for this. Okay?
Solid food or any type of food? Does it have to be solid food or
Any type of food, as long as it is food, not milk. As long as it is food, then he is not he's not considered to be that his urine needs to be washed.
Production of like milk, like a cheese, doesn't apply. Like production of milk, like yogurt, or if it's a
Productive milk.
production of milk,
cheese,
like
cheese
yogurt
and
and
milk?
cheese.
Is it milk? Okay, it is made of milk, so it is still milk. خلاص. So then the ruling will be applicable as long as he is not eating food.
What about water? Or if the infant drinks water?
Definitely, he needs water.
No, I mean, like, so that doesn't apply.
لا, it does not apply. Food, not water. طيب, then he says, how long do we have? Okay, we are about to finish. Let's finish it. Hi Abdullah, should we take يعني الأربعين نووية or ما تبين? What do you think? Should we cover this يعني so that we will make up what we missed in the last week? خلاص, let's finish it so that we will have the يعني كتاب الآنية or باب الآنية afterwards. So let's try to finish it. He said, likewise, prostatic secretions, al-madi, prostatic secretions, which is the pre-ejaculatory fluid. Okay? Prostatic secretions. هذا هو المذي. Now, what is المذي? يعني usually we define it. We say that المذي هو سائل رقيق شفاف يخرج عقيب الشهوة. Okay? It's a fluid رقيق, transparent. A transparent fluid, سائل رقيق شفاف, that it secretes after a shahwa, or because of a shahwa, because of the desire. Okay? This is called madhi. وكل فحل يمضي, يقول صلى الله عليه وسلم. كل فحل, يعني every man, if he's a man, then he will have this secretion because he is a man. طيب, do women have the same? Yes, they have madhi. They have this secretion. ولهذا the ruling is applicable to man and also applicable to women. They have it, the same thing. If they have the desire, usually it happens. Usually that there is this prostatic secretions. Okay? Now, he said that likewise, prostatic secretions, al-madhi. Let me read what it says in Arabic, then we will go over the translation. He said that وَكَذَلِكَ الْمَذِي وَيُعْفَى عَنْ يَسِيرِهِ وَيَسِيرِ الدَّمِ وَمَا تَوَلَّدَ مِنْهُ مِنَ الْقَيْحِ وَالصَّدِيدِ وَنَحْوِهِ وَحَدُّ الْيَسِيرِ هُوَ مَا لَا يَفْحُشُ فِي النَّفْسِ. He says, likewise, prostatic secretions, al-madi, takes the same ruling as a male infant's urine. A trivial amount of it, al-madi, will be excused. Likewise, the trivial amount of blood and its byproducts of pus, purulent matter, and similar things are all exempt. The trivial amount is that which is not repugnant. طيب. It says likewise, prostatic secretions al-madi, and we just defined it, right? سائل رقيق شفاف. هكذا سائل رقيق شفاف يخرج عقيب الشهوة من الذكر والأنثى. طيب, is it a sign of بلوغ? Is al-madi a sign of بلوغ? A sign of being adult? No. طيب, is it possible for an adult to have this secretion because of the desire? Is it possible? If it is possible, then it should be a sign, like what al-Malikiyya say. If it is not possible, then definitely it won't be a sign because it does not exist. I asked atibba, doctors, and they differ. They sometimes call it madi, sometimes they say that it's not madi. Then you say to them, what is it? They say it's a part of fluid. يعني يقولون هو سائل ركوزي ريبوزي يخرج من الإنسان. But it's not madi, they say. And if it's يعني إذا خرج من السبيل, then it is najis. وينقض الوضوء لأنه خرج من السبيل, even if they don't consider it to be madi. But now the أطباء, the doctors and physiologists, الآن في الطب التناسلي, what do you call those who specialize in sexual
For the men, it's the
لا, what do you call, now you have مثلا for the sexual system.
for the men, it's the urologist. For the women, it's the OBGYN.
اي نعم اي نعم اي نعم
Gynecologist.
اي نعم gynecologist. نعم. So what do you call the man for the man?
Urologist.
اي نعم urologist. if you ask them, they will differ. يسمى طبيب عندنا الأعضاء التناسلية. Anyways, يعني literally it says reproductive system. A doctor or a specialist in reproductive system. طيب, so then I don't know, I don't have an answer scientifically speaking, because they are different. And if you read articles, they argue back and forth. And if you read even books, I remember I bought 3 books from Jarir to know what's this, and they don't agree. Some of them that they consider it madi, they call it madi, or some consider it to be not, if it happens before the age of adolescence. فالله أعلم. لكنه الذين يعني what is the ruling of it? If it happens, we say that it nullifies the wudu and it's what? نجس. Well, لأنه خارج من السبيل. كل ما خرج من السبيلين فإنه ناقض للوضوء. ما يقول إنه نجس. هل كل ما خرج من السبيلين نجس? No, because you have many. المني is طاهر or نجس? طاهر according to the preponderant opinion. طيب, he says takes the same ruling, because look يا إخوة, what comes out of male sexual organ, okay, it comes 4 things. What are they? Bowl, madi, mani, and wadi, something called wadi. It usually happens after a person urinates. If he urinates, some people that they have it, some people that they will have it when they carry something heavy, they will have it. This is called wadi. All of them are najis? No. or all of them are impure except al-mani على الصحيح according to the preponderant opinion. طيب. Now this madi, he said that it takes the same ruling as a male infant's urine, meaning that you don't need to wash it off. It's enough to sprinkle it. واضح? It is enough. Okay, what is the evidence for that? The hadith that we just mentioned, hadith Sahl ibn Hanif, the narration of Sahl ibn Hanif. The Prophet ﷺ said to him, it is sufficient for you to take a handful of water, then you sprinkle it over the madi. Okay? He said a trivial amount of it, meaning of al-madi, will be excused. Why? Because it happens a lot. والمشقة ترفع والمشقة تجلب التيسير للمشقة. Because if that person is man, usually it happens. Because he's man. Especially the young. It happens to the young people. يعني 16, 17, 18, 19, up to 25. That's why they suffer. Many people that many young people, مثلا when I was in the masjid, like in a line, and you know the question that they're going to ask. Because they are young. They are in the pinnacle of their reproductive period. So that it is, bihamdillah, easy to purify. What do? You sprinkle it, وَيُعْفَى عَنْ يَسِيرٍ. The trivial amount of it is just excused. So you don't make it hard upon yourself. It's easy, bihamdillah. يُعْفَى عَنْ يَسِيرِهِ. So then, how do you clean it up? How to purify? And look, this is in your body or in your garments. They are the same. How do you deal with it? You sprinkle water over it, and the amount that is yasir, or you don't find, it is excused. He said, likewise, the trivial amount of blood and its byproducts of post-purulent matter and similar things are all exempt. Meaning, يُعْفَى عَنْ يَسِيرِهِ. Meaning that the trivial amount of blood. Now, we have two issues here. The first issue is that the blood is impure. The blood, meaning the blood of a person, is impure. The second issue is that a trivial amount of it is excused. Okay? طيب. It should be a little bit elaborated here that blood, we have two issues or two levels of this issue. The first is that we have a blood unanimously agreed upon that it is impure. What is it? Two types. The type of the blood that comes out of your sexual organs. الخارج من السبيلين نحن نقول. This is unanimously agreed upon that it is what? Impure. Unanimously agreed upon. The second type is the blood that during the period of women, or the blood of nifas. This is impure, unanimously agreed upon. Are you with us, ikhwa? So then if you are asked, give us the unanimity on the impurity of a blood, then you say that we have two types. The first one, the one that comes out of a sexual organ, al-kharij min as-sabilayn. Okay? Then what is this one? This najis, unanimously agreed on. The second one, that menses, the menses or the dam of nifas. What do you call it in English? Postpartum. This blood is unanimously agreed upon. That is najis, not pure. Okay? طيب. Then we have a blood coming out of the rest of the body. Your head, of your eyes, of your nose, of your hands, from your stomach, from whatever of your body. Now, this blood we have some people argue that we have consensual agreement that this blood is what? Impure, najis. Okay? But not to make things any longer, we say that the preponderant opinion is what? That the blood coming out of the body, other than these bloods that we just mentioned to you, is tahir, pure. It's not najis. طيب, give us one evidence of it. نعم, تفضل.
When Umar ibn Khattab, he was injured and continued his salah.
Ahsant. And the blood was gushing a lot. He continued, he didn't repeat the salah. That when Umar radiallahu anhu ardah was stabbed radiallahu anhu, the blood was gushing and he continued to pray and he didn't repeat it. And the Sahaba radiallahu anhum didn't say that you need to make up your wudu. So this is almost an argument that it is consensually agreed upon up to an extent. But the fact of the matter is that we have Sahaba do otherwise. طيب, one.
There were 2 centuries praying, and 1 century got struck by an arrow. To continue this prayer.
Exactly. So actually, not only this one, the Sahaba used to fight with the Prophet ﷺ, right? A lot of them that they were injured, and never he ﷺ asked them to repeat their wudu. We don't have any even weak narration that he ﷺ nullified their wudu. So then we come to the conclusion that blood getting out of your body, a lot or trivial, is pure. But al-madhhab, they say that it is impure. However, its a trivial amount is excused. نعم, تفضل يا أخوي.
If you say you're injured and pus comes out with the blood, does that make it impure?
What?
If pus comes out with the blood, does that make it impure?
No, it's not impure. It's pure. Yes, we say that it is recommendable for you, مثلا, if you are in the masjid, to get out and wash it. Or if you are praying, that you cut your prayer in order not to filthify the masjid. But again, filthifying is not about impurity. It is impure. It is pure. It is pure. It's not impure. So the madhab, they say that we opine that it is impure. However, it's a trivial amount of it is excused. They said likewise, the trivial amount of blood and its byproducts of pus, اللي هو القيح, and the sadid, purulent matter. You know what we're talking about? You know when you have an injury, that sometimes the blood is mixed, sometimes some yellow things get out of your injury, right? This is called qayh. Okay, this is called qayh. As-sadid is the end mixing. The end mixing of it is called qayh. The point is that which comes out with the blood is excused. Okay, this is only based upon the opinion that the blood is what? Is impure. Now, what's their evidence for this? They say that we have multiple Sahaba radiallahu anhum and multiple Tabi'een that they prayed with some blood. Yani مثلا, one of the Sahaba, he got blood out of his nose while praying, and he continued praying. مثل like Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhuma, he had a bathra, also Mughira bin Shu'bah, bathra, yani it's a small injury that has a little bit of blood, and he just lit it. Yani he didn't care about it. So they say that shows that the Sahaba understood that it is if it is a trivial amount, then they are excused. Okay? طيب. He said the trivial amount is that which is not repugnant. Now he's talking about, okay, how to measure whether or not it's trivial. He said that if it is repugnant, طيب, if it is repugnant, يعني أن يفحش. Because Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنهما, he said حتى يفحش في نفسك. Okay? Until it is fahish, until it is repugnant. But that which is repugnant to you, not necessarily to be repugnant to me. That person would consider it a lot, while that person won't even count it. Right? So then the ulama rahimahullah differed. Is it repugnant up to the person, or it's repugnant up to al-urf? Yani what people would consider to be repugnant. What do you think? What's your name? Amir, yeah, Amir. Okay, Prince. Go ahead. What do you think with justification? Definitely. You can't just say, I think, it seems to me, but with justification. Do you think it is up to you and me, or it's up to what normal people would consider it to be repugnant? And for example, if you ask this gathering, 70% they would consider it to be repugnant.
Up to the people.
Up to the people. Why?
Because in some cases, for instance, like what is considered not appropriate as for like dress, it would be considered what is inappropriate to the culture and society. So, like, it's like
And look, we're talking about urf. What is the urf that we're talking about when we usually say urf? Abdullah. لا لا يعني العرف يا إخوة is something that is repetitive, and it's not done naturally. This is what we call al-urf. There is some discussions between the difference between the habit and the custom, al-urf and al-ada, but we leave it here. Lakin this is what we call al-urf. Now we're talking about an healthy Islamic society, not a corrupted society. Then we make urf. We're talking about proper Islamic society. Then we go to something that is repetitive, that they do it repetitively, that is not natural. Yeah, the way that they dress, the way that they do their transactions, and so on and so forth. Should we go to society? Should we go to how people would consider that thing to be repugnant, or it's up to every individual? Hi, Abdullah.
The principle that the customs of the people is considered
When
there's no evidence.
Ahsan. Because we don't have a specific evidence of a Sharia, therefore it is left to al-urf and al-ada. However, they argue back by saying that, well, Abdullah ibn Abbas said this is reported in Ibn Abi Shaybah and Abdul Razzaq with an authentic chain. It is actually taken from Ikrimah and Abdullah ibn Abbas. He said, radiyallahu anhu, ما يفحش في نفسك, that which is repugnant to you. That's what he says. How to argue back?
Wasn't specific to that situation.
Exactly. So then we say that it's repugnant up to you because Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said so. We don't know of any other opposite from a Sahabi to this opinion. And this is how Ahmad rahimahullah would do it. If in the bab, in that particular mas'ala, the highest thing that we find is what? Qawl al-Sahabi, where there is no opposite, then what do? We take it. That's why the madhab rahimahullah said that they are taking it, as Ahmad rahimahullah said, which is not repugnant up to you, up to the person. This is the preponderant opinion. Okay? But the argument that it is up to al-urf, they have an argument. Lakin what I've just stated to you is more inclined towards the usul of Ahl al-Hadith. Then he said, وَبَنِيُّ الْآدَمِيِّ وَبَوْلُ مَا يُؤْكَلُ لَحْمُهُ طَاهِرٌ. He said that the semen of a human and the urine of the animals whose flesh can be eaten are all pure. طيب. The semen, meaning al-mani. Again, there are four things that they will get naturally from a sexual organ of a male. What are they? Urine, male, mani, madhi, and wadi. طيب. He says that the semen of a human, is, he said that they are going to be pure. Now, this is the opinion of Ahmad and the Shafi'i, as opposed to Malik and Abu Hanif. And the preponderant opinion is that the opinion that Ahmad and Abu Hanifa and the Shafi'i upon. Why? Because they have a strong evidence. The first evidence is that Aisha radiallahu anha, as it is reported of Sahihain, used to scratch it from the garment of the Prophet ﷺ, from the robe of the Prophet ﷺ. Had it been impure, she needs to do what? To wash it. So what does that tell? It tells that it is pure. This is irrational evidence, because we don't have time to go more about more evidences. The second evidence is that now it's the origin of a human, and a human is what? Pure. It's like the dirt. We are created of dirt, and dirt is what? Pure. So this is by analogy or justifiable evidence, and we have multiple evidences. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah, in his book إعلام الموقعين, he said that he showed like a debate, and he didn't take side at the beginning. He showed the debate between Hanabila and Shafi'iyya and Malikiyya and Hanafiyya. He showed the debate. Then eventually he sided with the Hanabila and Shafi'iyya, because this is what the evidence alludes to. Then he finished the debate by saying that I spend my time convincing a person that you are pure, and he is insisting to be impure. I said to him, you are pure. He said, no, I want to be impure. We are all created of nutfah. We are all created of nutfah. Do you want just to move your mind a little bit? Do you want to think a little bit? Or you're tired to think? Some people say that, well, it's been about months, I don't think. I just move on. We don't have time to think. Some people, they find it difficult to think. But they find a lot of time to argue and have troubles with their families and their parents and their neighbors, but they don't find time to think, let alone that they will find time to read the Quran and attend majalis al-ilm. But they say that, well, we are busy with our life. What do? Sitting in the restaurant arguing about the match between Portugal and another country. Say that we don't have time. We are busy with our life. This is how they are so deceived. Shaitan has deceived them so much, to the extent that they are so empty and they think that they are so busy. Anyways, that now we are created from nutfah. Yes. Now, are we transformed? Is this nutfah transformed into us? Okay? Or we develop, whereby we are different beings at different stages. This is related to a very famous issue that Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah argued so much. It caused him a lot of trouble, and because of which he was even accused of being kafir. Why? Because he said that it is possible that we are created without matter. Without matter. Okay? But we don't want to now, and we have an adhan now. We don't want to juggle your mind. So this is what he is arguing. He is making a very strong argument. without matter. It's about the possibility. He was arguing with Ibn Sina and also the Ash'ari. Yani how do Al-Ash'ari believe? What's the idea of creation in accordance to Al-Ash'ari? If you have just a little bit of time, inshallah we'll move on. When are we going to make Iqamah? 10 minutes. طيب. They say that have you heard of the issue? If you didn't hear about it, we will move on. I thought that you have some familiarity with it. Have you heard of the issue that is it, the mumkin, when we talk about something that is mumkin, possible? What is the thing that is possible? Huh? It could exist and it could not exist. And there is a thing that is called necessary. What is a necessary? Wajib. It's only perceived to exist. There is something that is called the impossible. What is the impossible? It's only perceived to non-exist. Like, for that thing that is called mumkin, possible, is it conditional for it to exist? That you have a state for it to exist? Or you need with the state matter? Yani, do we need a state of possibility for it to exist? Or you need a state as well as matter for it to exist? That which is mumkin. Okay? Anyway, هذا يعني think about it. يعني we give you some thinkable meat to eat. Anyways, so the semen is what? Pure. Semen is pure. He said that, and the urine of the animals whose flesh can be eaten are all pure. Now, what are the animals that can be eaten? We say that the animals, we know the animals that can be eaten. We know the animals that can be eaten by dividing them into the categories of the animals that they are eaten, or by pointing out the animals that can't be eaten. In both cases you can do it. But to put it simply, and we'll talk about this في كتاب الأطعمة inshallah under the back, that what is an animal that is allowed to eat? An animal that is allowed to eat. We say that ماذا؟ ما ها؟ أي الذي تبيحه الذكاء. An animal that if slaughtered it will be halal. This is called eaten animal. Okay? ما أباحته الذكاء. If slaughtered it becomes halal. Give me an example. Sheep, camel, cow. What else? Chicken. What about an elephant? Why? Why? Because it's big. I was about to say it's big. What about a giraffe? And you are from Africa, you have all of these. It's impossible.
Oh, the neck is
What about the camel? The camel, it has a long neck. That's why you can do what we call ta'n. You can stab it here and then you eat it. What about elephant? If you are Maliki, yes. Giraffe, yes. So anything that if it's slaughtered, then it will be allowed. We call it eaten animal. Okay? يقول ما أباحته الذكاء. هذا أباحته الذكاء. What is the second thing? ما لا نفس له سائلة. That which has not fluid blood. Like what? Locutus. Locust. جراد. الجراد هذا eaten animal. Okay? This is an eating animal. The third is البحر, ميتة البحر, a dead animal by البحر, like fish or octopus or what do you call crab, lobster. These are all ميتة البحر. هذا كله من البحر. He says that the urine of the animals, okay, the urine of the animals whose flesh can be eaten are all pure. Are all pure. Now, what's the evidence for that? The evidence that we use for this is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know the story of al-Uraniyin, right? They were people, Bedouins, came from the tribe of Urayna or Ukr. They came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They stayed in Al-Madinah. When they stayed in Al-Madinah, they got sick because of Al-Madinah. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam recommended for them to go outside to change the environment because of the weather. They went outside of Al-Madinah. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, go to the places where the sheep are grazing and stay with the shepherd there. What happened is that when they got healthy and they were strong, what did they do? They killed the shepherd. How did they kill him? By coming to his eyes. Then they samaluha. They took heated iron stick. Then they put it in his hand. They're criminals. Then هذا من حديث أنس, حديث بقلابة عن أنس. Then they took the animals, the sheep. The Prophet ﷺ heard about. Now, what did he ﷺ tell them when he ﷺ sent them to that place? He said sallallahu alayhi wasallam, "Ishrabu min abwaliha wa albaniha." Drink from the camels, al-alban, and its urine. That's what he ﷺ recommended for them, out of necessity. That's why we say that it's not just to drink. If it's proven for that person that it's going to be curing, it is a cure, then that person can do it. That's what he ﷺ did. This is في الصحيحين, هذا الحديث في البخاري ومسلم. So then we conclude that the urines are what? طاهرة, pure. واضح? And this is the opinion of Ahmad and Malik, as opposed to Shafi'i and Abu Hanifa. Shafi'i Abu Hanifa, they said no, it's impure, but the evidence is against it. Because they say that the Prophet ﷺ recommended for them because it's a cure, not because it's pure. We argue back by saying that the Prophet ﷺ said that إن شفاء أمتي لم يجعل الله شفاء أمتي فيما حرم عليها. The Prophet ﷺ said that Allah does not make the cure of my ummah in the things that He made haram for them. So that tells you, therefore, that the urine is pure. Okay? So any animal that is eaten, then it's sweat, it's urine, it's saliva, it's rawth. What is rawth? Huh? Dung. Dung or dung? Dung, yeah, it's dung. Okay? وسؤره, the saliva. All of it is pure. All of it is pure. Okay? هذا هو القول الصحيح. Actually, it is the opinion where there is no escape of it. It's inescapable. So then the preponderant opinion is that what we have just mentioned to you. طيب, we finish here? طيب, so then inshallah we will make salah بأمر الله تعالى وتيسيره. If there are questions, they will be after the prayer بأمر الله تعالى وتيسيره. وفق الله الجميع.